Chapter 43-85. The space-time power spread out and enveloped everyone in the heavenly palace. These people were suppressed by the space-time power and their speed slowed down. Their strength was also suppressed, and their strength was greatly reduced. Autumn Moon and Bubbles easily dodged and did not affect them much. Swoosh! Lu Ming also moved. His body was like a phantom as he pounced toward the people in the heavenly palace. In the space-time power, Lu Ming's speed was not affected at all. Instead, it became faster. After a few flashes, he dodged the attacks one by one. Then, he rushed toward an 8-star heavenly human prodigy and stabbed his spear at him. That person was shocked and wanted to dodge. However, the space-time power around him kept pressing toward him. It was as if he had fallen into a quagmire and his speed was greatly affected. For a moment, he could not dodge at all. He could only take it head-on. He roared and unleashed his strongest heavenly power. It turned into a battle axe and slashed at Lu Ming. With a loud bang, the two attacks collided. In the instant of the collision, the battle axe formed by the heavenly human tribe's prodigy shattered. The spear light was like a rainbow piercing through the sun, piercing straight through the heavenly human tribe's forehead. The heavenly human prodigy's head exploded like a watermelon and he died. Lu Ming rushed past and the heavenly human prodigy's storage ring fell into Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming did not stop and continued to kill the next heavenly human prodigy. This prodigy had a 9-star battle strength. When he saw Lu Ming charging toward him, he was shocked and quickly retreated. However, in the space-time power, his speed was no match for Lu Ming's. He was caught up and suffered Lu Ming's terrifying attacks. Although he had a 9-star battle strength and was very powerful, it was a pity that he met Lu Ming. Lu Ming now had a 13-star battle strength. Even if this heavenly human prodigy was at his peak, he would not be a match for Lu Ming. Now that he was suppressed by the space-time power, the gap between him and Lu Ming was even greater. Poof! Blood splattered in all directions as blood-curdling screams resounded throughout the heavens and earth. Instakill, it was still an instakill. That young genius of the 9th great supreme god layer, who had the strength of a 9-star cultivator, had been killed by Lu Ming in an instant. His ring had also fallen into Lu Ming's hands. "You're courting death." Yi Chu Qianyue roared. The murderous intent in his eyes almost materialized. Hundreds of pure white lightning bolts flickered continuously on his right palm, producing crackling sounds. Among them, dozens of pure white lightning bolts struck towards Lu Ming. As they neared Lu Ming, the lightning bolts grew larger and larger. Each bolt was thicker than a person's waist and filled with a terrifying aura. Lu Ming originally wanted to kill the next person, but in the face of these dozens of lightning bolts, he had no choice but to focus on dealing with them. Lu Ming used his movement technique and kept dodging. At the same time, he used his spear to block. After all, this was only a part of Yi Chu Qianyue's strength. It was not his full strength. Lu Ming could still block it. He thrust out his spear, and destroyed the lightning formed by the power of the heavenly punishment. "Everyone, back off!" Yi Chu Qianyue roared. The lightning bolts mixed with the power of the heavenly punishment kept striking towards Qiu Yu and Bubbles. At the same time, a part of them struck towards Lu Ming. The purpose of such a large-scale attack was to buy time for the other people of the heavenly palace to retreat. He was not being kind and wanted to save the other people of the heavenly palace. But if these people of the heavenly palace died, he would also be implicated. After all, he was the leader here. He was the only son of heaven. In other words, these people were under his leadership. If they were to besiege and kill Lu Ming and the rest under his leadership and suffer heavy losses, it would be a huge blow to his reputation and reputation. His competitors would definitely use this to attack him. It would be very unfavorable for him. Therefore, after Lu Ming had killed 2 young geniuses of the heavenly human tribe, he could only use his full strength to cover the retreat of the others. Under the cover of Yi Chu Qianyue, the other people of the heavenly palace quickly retreated and gathered together. Yi Chu Qianyue also stopped attacking Qiu Yu and Bubbles. He also quickly retreated and gathered with the others. In this way, it would be difficult for Lu Ming and the others to attack. Yi Chu Qianyue and the others kept retreating and finally got out of the range of the power of time and space. They stared at Lu Ming and the other 2 with extremely strong killing intent, but they did not dare to act rashly. Mu Yun. No, I should call you Lu Ming. Yi Chu Qianyue stared at Lu Ming and said. The 9 sons and daughters of heaven of the heavenly palace knew Lu Ming's real body movement. They knew that Mu Yun was Lu Ming and Lu Ming was Mu Yun. They were the same person. Lu Ming smiled faintly and did not deny it. However, some people of the heavenly palace widened their eyes in shock. What? Mu Yun is Lu Ming? Are they the same person? How is this possible? How did his life origin aura change? Some people exclaimed and found it hard to believe. However, these words were said by Yi Chu Qianyue. Looking at Lu Ming's expression, it was obvious that he had admitted it. They had no choice but to believe it. This was really a piece of shocking news. Lu Ming, you can only hide behind 2 women and struggle at death's door. Without those 2 women, I can kill you with one hand. Yi Chu Qianyue sneered and his voice was full of sarcasm. You're just a little older than me and your cultivation is a little higher than mine. If you have the ability, why don't you fight me at the same level? Lu Ming said sarcastically. Cultivation is also a kind of capital. A high cultivation is also a kind of talent. Are you going to ask a divine master to deliberately suppress his cultivation to compete with a divine king or a divine master? Isn't that ridiculous? Some people are just so talented. No matter how much time you give them, it will be difficult for them to improve their cultivation. Do I have to suppress my cultivation to fight with someone weaker than me every time I meet him? What's the point of cultivating for all the living beings in the world? Yi Chu Qianyue sneered and continued to mock him. This time, Lu Ming did not say anything. He really had nothing to say. He could only use practical actions to trample on the other party's face in the future. That was the best counterattack. You talk so much nonsense. Are all the heavenly human tribe like this? Do you only rely on your mouth when you're not strong enough? Seeing Lu Ming being scolded, Qiu Yu stopped talking and responded. Yi Chu Qianyue glanced at Qiu Yu with a gloomy face and secretly swore to himself that he would make Qiu Yu pay the price in the future. Your Excellency, what should we do next? Behind Yi Chu Qianyue, a heavenly human tribe genius asked in a low voice. Continue to comprehend those primitive ancient characters. We'll find a chance to deal with Lu Ming later, Yi Chu Qianyue said. After saying that, he turned around and walked back to the golden light wall in front of the valley. At this time, Lu Ming and the other 2 finally had time to look at the golden light wall. At first glance, the 3 of them were shocked. They saw that there were words on the golden light wall. However, the 3 of them did not recognize any of these words. These words looked very ancient and very strange. They looked like paintings but also like words. For example, there was a word that looked like a flame. However, the 3 of them could tell that it was not a painting but a word. Chapter 43-86. Are they hieroglyphs? Qiu Autumn Moon whispered. What are hieroglyphs? Lu Ming asked. Master once said that hieroglyphs are words from the last era. They were popular in the Eldritch continent back then. They looked like patterns and words, so they were called hieroglyphs. They are the oldest words. Some people call them the Eldritch ancient words, Qiu Autumn Moon explained in a low voice. I see. Hieroglyphs are quite appropriate. Lu Ming nodded. The three of them stepped forward and came to the golden wall. The golden wall was huge and it separated the valley completely. It was tens of thousands of miles wide. They were far away from the heavenly human tribe. The three of them looked at the golden wall carefully. The hieroglyphs on the golden wall of light emitted a strange light. The strange thing was that they were constantly moving on the wall of light. Sometimes they would move far away, and sometimes they would move back. It was as if they were flowing in a small river. What a strange feeling, Lu Ming whispered and stared at the hieroglyphs. The hieroglyphs gave people a feeling that they were extremely ancient and contained endless mystery. It was as if every hieroglyph contained endless mysteries. However, the profundity of this technique was difficult to comprehend, and the things that it contained were completely different from the current cultivation system. These hieroglyphs are very strange. Do they contain the cultivation methods or secret arts of the last era? Xiao Autumn Moon guessed. According to the information left by Dandan, only by comprehending some of the mysteries of the words on the wall can we pass through this golden wall and enter the real core of the 5 elements Immortal Mountain to obtain the 5 elements Immortal Tier. At this moment, Bubbles said. It seems that these words are indeed extraordinary. Let's begin. Lu Ming said. The three of them each chose a place to sit down and then stared at the hieroglyphs on the golden wall seriously. The golden wall seemed to be magnified in Lu Ming's eyes. Words after words flowed in Lu Ming's eyes. Lu Ming entered a state of ethereal state and tried his best to decipher the hieroglyphs, hoping to comprehend some mysteries. Of course, he also paid attention to the surroundings. If there was any danger, he would be able to react in time. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. However, Lu Ming did not comprehend anything. However, even though he didn't comprehend anything, he was still able to make some headway. These hieroglyphs don't seem to contain a cultivation method, but an existence similar to a secret technique, Lu Ming pondered. However, the cultivation method of the previous epoch was different from the current one. Although these hieroglyphs contained something similar to a secret technique, they were actually not a secret technique. They were very profound, and Lu Ming still could not figure them out. Actually, thinking about it, it made sense. Those hieroglyphs were definitely not that easy to comprehend. Yi Chu Qianyue and the others had likely been here for several years. Yet, they were still trapped outside, unable to pass through the golden wall of light. Yi Chu Qianyue, to be able to become the son of heaven, his talent must be extremely high. His perception must also be top-notch. Even after spending so much time, he still couldn't comprehend it. It was clear that these hieroglyphs were definitely not that simple. At the same time, Lu Ming and the other two felt a sense of urgency. They wanted to comprehend it as soon as possible, pass through the golden wall, and obtain the 5 elements Immortal Tier. If the people of the heavenly human tribe were one step ahead of them, it would be troublesome. After all, they were a few years late. Let's try the primordial god stone. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The primordial god stone was incomparably profound. Legend had it that it was a treasure from the previous epoch. The Lord of the Primordial Divine Court relied on the primordial god stone to comprehend the 3,000 primordial secret techniques. Lu Ming relied on the primordial god stone and other primordial secret techniques as a foundation to successfully comprehend the heaven-breaking form. Could the primordial god stone help him comprehend these hieroglyphs? It was also an item from the previous epoch. It should be helpful, right? Lu Ming was not very sure, but he could only give it a try. Lu Ming's mind sank into the primordial god stone and merged with it. Buzz! In his sea of consciousness, strange patterns suddenly appeared on the primordial god stone. Looking at these patterns, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. These patterns looked somewhat similar to the hieroglyphs on the golden wall of light. This had never appeared before. In the past, when Lu Ming comprehended the primordial secret techniques or the heaven-breaking form, some patterns also appeared on the primordial god stone. But those patterns were completely different from the ones now. Let's see the effect. Lu Ming suppressed the fluctuations in his heart and continued to look at the hieroglyphs on the golden wall of light. This time, there was an obvious change. The hieroglyphs on the golden wall of light seemed to have something more magical in his eyes. It was a feeling, a wonderful feeling. That was, the hieroglyphs on the golden wall of light were not so obscure and difficult to understand. Lu Ming had a strange understanding in his heart. The primordial god stone is really useful. It can help me comprehend. This is great. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Originally, the people of the heavenly human race had entered a few years earlier than them and comprehended a few more years. This made him very uncertain. He was afraid that they would suddenly succeed, pass through the golden wall of light, and take the 5 elements fairy tier first. Now, he finally had some confidence. Immediately, Lu Ming focused his mind and comprehended with all his might. These hieroglyphs slowly seemed to come alive in Lu Ming's eyes. They seemed to have turned into flames, mountains, and even different creatures, displaying their own mysteries. It's really a kind of secret technique. It's used to attack or assist, Lu Ming whispered. He understood more and more in his heart, and his understanding of these hieroglyphs also became deeper and deeper. However, after all, it was Lu Ming's first time coming into contact with this kind of hieroglyphs and the secret technique of the last era. It was still very difficult to comprehend it successfully. Even with the help of the primordial god stone, it was not that easy. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. The people of the heavenly human race still had not comprehended it. At this time, Lu Ming's understanding of the hieroglyphs had improved a lot. Sometimes, his hands would involuntarily dance. His fingertips would pass through the air, drawing mysterious patterns in the air. Young Master is indeed the young Master. He's always so powerful. On the side, Autumn Moon's beautiful eyes sparkled, and her face was full of admiration. Brother Lu Ming is so powerful. Dandan is right. Only Brother Lu Ming can save him. Bubbles' face was also full of smiles. The two of them only felt that their heads were swollen after comprehending it for a year. They only felt that their heads were swollen, and they did not understand anything at all. However, Lu Ming had obviously taken a big step forward and they were convinced. Let's continue to comprehend it. It's not that we don't trust the young master, but we have to be careful, Autumn Moon said to Bubbles. Okay. Bubbles nodded and continued to comprehend. In the blink of an eye, another 2 years had passed. Chapter 43-87. Another 2 years passed. In these 2 years, Lu Ming's comprehension of the pictographic characters was increasing every day. In these 2 years, Lu Ming had made great progress. Although he hadn't fully comprehended it, he was already starting to understand it. Under the golden wall of light, Lu Ming's figure flashed and his hands danced in a mysterious trajectory. Between his hands, there were either mountains, flames, or divine weapons that slashed down, unpredictable and immensely powerful. This seemed to be a kind of seal technique. Although it looked similar to the current secret technique, the way it was operated was completely different. When this seal technique was operated, there seemed to be a mysterious chi gathering between heaven and earth, which could burst out a terrifying power. At this time, Lu Ming had a kind of enlightenment. He felt that he could use this seal technique to pass through the golden light wall. Autumn Moon, Bubbles, wait for me here. I'll give it a try. Lu Ming said. Come on, Brother Lu Ming. You can definitely do it. Bubbles waved her small fist and cheered for Lu Ming. Autumn Moon also smiled. She didn't need to say anything. She definitely believed in Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared under the golden light wall. Then, his hands danced and operated the seal technique that he had comprehended from the pictographic characters. His hands seemed to have turned into flames and blasted out. Wang! When the flames blasted on the golden light wall shook violently. Circles of ripples spread out in all directions. It works. Continue. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It seemed that his guess was right. There was no need to fully comprehend those pictographic characters. As long as he comprehended a part of them, he could pass through the golden light wall. Immediately, Lu Ming continued to use the pictographic character seal technique. His hands danced rapidly and turned into a mountain again, bombarding the golden light wall, causing the golden light wall to shake even more violently. In the distance, about 10,000 li away, Yi Chu Qianyue and the others were still comprehending the pictographic characters. They all had the strength of the ninth great supreme god layer, so they weren't in a hurry to concoct the great desolate pellets. They also understood that this pictographic character was definitely a great opportunity. If they could comprehend it, it would be very useful to them in the future. Therefore, even though they had comprehended very little after so many years, they still did not want to leave and continue to comprehend here. Right at this moment, the golden wall of light began to tremble and ripple. What happened? Why did the wall of light suddenly shake? The people of the celestial race cried out. The tremors are coming from over there. That's Lu Ming and the others. Someone shouted. Could it be that Lu Ming and the others have already comprehended the ancient characters and are breaking through the golden light wall? As soon as this voice came out, everyone's faces turned ugly. Including Yi Chu Qianyue. Let's go and take a look. Yi Chu Qianyue said in a cold voice. His figure flashed, and rushed in the direction of Lu Ming's group. The others followed closely behind Yi Qianyue. The distance of 10,000 miles was covered in the blink of an eye. Soon, they saw Lu Ming and the others. They also saw that Lu Ming was attacking the golden light wall. Sure enough, Lu Ming had succeeded. Damn it, Yi Chu Qianyue roared. His face was distorted and became extremely ferocious. He had spent 7 or 8 years to comprehend these pictographic characters, but Lu Ming had succeeded in just a few years and started to attack the golden light wall. Jealousy, extreme jealousy. At this moment, Yi Chu Qianyue felt that he was about to be burned by the fire of jealousy. Kill them, don't let them pass through the golden light wall. Yi Chu Qianyue roared. His body was filled with cold killing intent as he rushed madly towards Lu Ming and the others. The others did the same and rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. Stop them, don't let them disturb the young master. Autumn Moon shouted. In her chest, the sacred heart of 9 orifices was beating violently. 9 colors of light filled the air and rushed towards Yi Chu Qianyue and the others. Don't you dare disturb brother Lu Ming. Bubbles also rushed out. The spacetime force filled the entire void and shrouded all the heavenly human tribe. Autumn Moon and Bubbles did not want to kill the enemies. They only wanted to stop Yi Chu Qianyue and the others. The two of them cooperated seamlessly. For a moment, Yi Chu Qianyue and the others could not rush over. Lu Ming was not distracted. He wholeheartedly operated the pictographic characters to attack the golden light wall. The golden light wall shook more and more violently. At the center of Lu Ming's attack, a pit slowly appeared. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He seized the time and attacked continuously. With a boom, the light wall was blasted open, forming a hole that only one person could pass through. Autumn Moon, Bubbles, I'm going in. Lu Ming shouted. Young master, don't worry. Leave this to us. Brother Lu Ming, go in quickly. These people can't do anything to us. Autumn Moon and Bubbles quickly responded. Damn it, kill. Yi Chu Qianyue roared wildly and attacked frantically. However, it was useless. He was focused on and was wrapped in layers of spacetime force. Then, Autumn Moon attacked him fiercely. He could not rush over in a short time. At this moment, Lu Ming took a step forward and dashed into the hole, disappearing from sight. Although Autumn Moon and Bubbles had to face Yi Chu Qianyue and the others outside, Lu Ming was not worried. With Autumn Moon and Bubbles' strength, they could protect themselves. In fact, Lu Ming was the weakest among the three of them. Without him, Autumn Moon and Bubbles would have an easier time. This was also the reason why he could enter the Golden Light Wall without worry. As soon as Lu Ming entered the Golden Light Wall, the hole in the light wall disappeared in an instant. It did not allow a second person to pass through. The Golden Light Wall also returned to its original state. Lu Ming, Yi Chu Qianyue gritted his teeth. His eyes were flickering with cold light. The flame of anger had reached its peak. After a while, Yi Chu Qianyue calmed down. "Let's go." Yi Chu Qianyue roared and turned to leave. Lu Ming had already entered the Golden Light Wall. There was no need for them to stay here. It was meaningless to stay. In the blink of an eye, the people of the heavenly human tribe disappeared without a trace. After Lu Ming passed through the Golden Light Wall, he appeared in a spacious secret chamber. The secret chamber was empty. There was nothing in it. There was no other passage or gate. Lu Ming's face turned ugly. Where was the 5 elements immortal tier? After so many years, someone finally came here. A voice suddenly sounded. Lu Ming was startled. He looked around but did not see anyone. "Who is it?" Lu Ming shouted. "I'm above you." The voice sounded again. It sounded very young, like a 7 or 8-year-old girl. Lu Ming looked up. There was suddenly a light above the secret chamber. Then, a figure suddenly appeared. This figure was only a little more than a meter tall. She had a ponytail and her face was red. It was indeed a 7 or 8-year-old girl. Chapter 43-88. The little girl was barefooted. Her feet were white and tender, chubby, and quite cute. She gently lifted her feet and landed in front of Lu Ming, looking at Lu Ming curiously. Lu Ming also looked at the little girl curiously. "It's not a real body. It's just a shadow." Lu Ming's heart moved. He could clearly see that the little girl was not a real body, not a flesh and blood life, but a shadow. It looked like it was condensed by light, and it looked very illusory. "What's your name?" The little girl stared at Lu Ming and asked. "Lu Ming, what about you?" Lu Ming answered truthfully and then asked a question in return. "You can call me Jade Maiden. What do you think? It's a nice name, right?" After saying that, she looked at Lu Ming with a hopeful face. It's very nice." Lu Ming said somewhat against his will. Hee, I knew it. My name is just nice." Hee, nice. The little girl was immersed in joy alone. "Lu Ming, Jade Maiden, do you have 5 elements immortal tears here?" Lu Ming asked. 5 elements immortal tears, of course, I have it, but if you want it, you have to promise me a condition. Jade Maiden also reacted, knowing that they were going to do business. Her small face put on a serious look. It was just that she was too cute. Even if she put on a serious look, she still looked charmingly naive. "What condition?" Lu Ming resisted the urge to pinch Jade Maiden's chubby face and asked. "It's very simple, it's to cultivate the qi refining technique I taught you." Jade Maiden said. "Qi refining technique? What's that?" "Cultivating true qi?" Lu Ming asked curiously. "Of course not. In your words, the qi refinement technique is a cultivation method from the last era. It absorbs the innate primordial qi for one's own use, refines the gold core, transforms the nascent soul, and finally ascends to immortality, becoming immortal. In the ancient desolation continent of the previous epoch, the main path of cultivation was the Qi refinement art. It was extremely mysterious and full of mysteries. It was much stronger than your current path of cultivation, and had a much brighter future. What do you think? Jade Maiden muttered a bunch of things, and finally looked at Lu Ming as if she was trying to trick a child. It's actually a cultivation path from the previous era. Lu Ming said softly. His eyes were bright, and he was also quite moved. Based on the evidence Xiaofan had, the great desolate continent of the previous epoch was incredibly prosperous. Its overall strength was much stronger than it was now, with many experts. This could be seen from the fact that the Heavenly Palace and the Heaven Destroyer were exploring the ruins of the universe. Moreover, the Taishang Immortal City was just a city left behind from the previous epoch, but it contained countless epochs, which made the Divine Lord Realm experts fight over it. Based on this evidence, the cultivation civilization of the great desolate continent of the previous epoch was much stronger than it was now. How could Lu Ming not be willing to cultivate the cultivation method of the previous epoch? Of course, I am willing to cultivate it. Lu Ming quickly nodded. Well, you can cripple your own cultivation, and then I will teach you the Qi refinement art. You can stay here and cultivate in peace. When you have some achievements in cultivation, you can go out and carry forward the Qi refinement art, Jade Maiden muttered again, but Lu Ming's face changed greatly. What? You want me to cripple my own cultivation and cultivate here in the future? No, I can't do that. Lu Ming immediately refused. What a joke. He had spent so much effort to cultivate to his current level. How could it be possible for him to cripple his own cultivation? Right now, he had a taboo body and controlled the taboo power. His fighting strength was incomparably strong and had reached 13 stars. His future was limitless. Even if he cultivated the Qi refinement art, could he have his current achievements? Also, if he were to stay here and cultivate, he wouldn't go out. He still had to bring the 5 elements immortal tears out to save Dandan and Ling Yue. No matter what, he couldn't agree to these 2 conditions. Therefore, Lu Ming refused straightforwardly. Don't be in such a hurry to refuse. Let me tell you, although you are strong now, when you cultivate the Qi refinement art to a high level, you will not be weaker than you are now, and might even be stronger than you are now. Furthermore, the Qi refinement art has unlimited possibilities, and it is much more promising than you are now. Also, you want to go out because you want to bring the 5 elements immortal tears out to save someone, right? Don't worry about that, I can send the 5 elements immortal tears out to your friends. Don't you have 2 friends waiting for you outside? Jade Maiden continued to earnestly persuade Lu Ming. At the same time, she praised the Qi refinement art to the heavens. However, Lu Ming only shook his head. He had never cultivated the Qi refinement art before. Who knew if it was good or not? Who knew if Jade Maiden was bragging? Who knew if the Qi refinement art taught by Jade Maiden was high level or not? Even if it was a cultivation technique from the previous era, there would definitely be a difference in level. What if Jade Maiden taught him a very low level one? Why are you so stubborn? If you don't agree, I won't give you the 5 elements immortal tears. In the end, Jade Maiden pouted and released a big move. You can't be so shameless. Lu Ming was tongue-tied. So what if I'm shameless? The Jade Maiden glared at Lu Ming. She had a self-righteous look on her face. Lu Ming, it wasn't easy for me to find someone who could comprehend some Qi refinement art. I definitely can't let you go. You have to give it a try, Jade Maiden continued. Lu Ming knew that Jade Maiden said that he had comprehended some Qi refinement art. It should be the hieroglyphs on the golden wall outside. Could it be that no one had come here before me? As far as I know, someone had come here 60 years ago, right? Lu Ming asked. Since Dandan knew that there were 5 elements immortal tears here, someone must have come here before. Yes, but those people are all trash. They don't have enough talent and aren't suitable for cultivation. You, on the other hand, are different. Your talent is very high. You only used 3 years to comprehend some qi cultivation arts and entered this place. You are more suitable than those people. I won't let you go. Let me tell you, I definitely won't let you go. Jade Maiden muttered non-stop. Alright, I can agree with you. At this time, Lu Ming suddenly said. You really agree? Jade Maiden was surprised. She didn't expect Lu Ming to change his mind so quickly. Previously, he was determined not to agree, but now he changed his mind? Yes, I agree. Lu Ming nodded. Just now, he had a flash of inspiration and thought of an idea. Behead 3 corpses technique. Yes, it was the behead 3 corpses technique. The behead 3 corpses technique could sever the past, present, and future. And now, Lu Ming could only sever his past and present. He had yet to sever his future. It's not that Lu Ming couldn't do it, but he didn't have a suitable opportunity to sever his future. His past body cultivated divine power, and his present body controlled taboo power. Then, what should he cultivate if he severed his future body? Now, he had it. After severing his future body, he could cultivate qi refinement art here. Chapter 43-89. Fei Huang once said that the 3-corpse execution technique was extremely mysterious. If one could cultivate it to great success, it would be of great help in breaking through a crucial realm in the future. However, the fusion of the past, present, and future would burst out with endless potential. Lu Ming had always wanted to create his future self, but he hadn't found a cultivation method for his future self. And qi refinement technique was the most suitable. Similarly, his future self could also stay here for a long time to cultivate. Alright, then quickly cripple your own cultivation. Jade Maiden said. Cripple my own cultivation? No, there's no need to cripple my own cultivation. Lu Ming shook his head. No need to cripple your own cultivation? That won't do. Qi refinement technique and your current power will clash. They can't coexist. Jade Maiden shook her head. There's no need to coexist. I'll tell you the truth. I've cultivated a secret technique that can cut out the past, present, and future. As long as I cut out my future self, I'll let my future self and you cultivate qi refinement technique here. Lu Ming said. What? You. Jade Maiden suddenly jumped up. Her eyes were wide open. Her red little face was full of shock. Could it be that you've mastered the 3-corpse execution technique? Jade Maiden held back for a long time and finally said this sentence. You also know the 3-corpse execution technique? Lu Ming asked. Nonsense, of course I know. No one in the Great Desolate Continent doesn't know. Let me tell you, the 3-corpse execution technique is the qi refinement technique of a top expert in the Great Desolate Continent. It's incomparably mysterious and can be called the top qi refinement technique. I thought it was lost, but I didn't expect it to be mastered by you, Jade Maiden muttered again. Wait a minute. Lu Ming interrupted Jade Maiden's muttering and said, Tell me, I can cultivate qi refinement technique after cutting out my future self. Does it meet your conditions? Of course. Jade Maiden nodded again and again. That's good. I'll start cultivating now and cut out my future self. At that time, you have to give me the 5 elements immortal tears. Also, I want 2 drops. Lu Ming said. No problem, I still have 3 drops here. By the way, you can take the 5 elements immortal tears out of the Supreme Immortal City. Jade Maiden said. Alright. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He didn't waste any more time and sat down cross-legged. In his mind, he carefully thought about the art of severing 3 corpses, and then began to cultivate. It was not that easy to cultivate the art of severing 3 corpses. It took Lu Ming a few months to officially begin the process of severing his future self. His body began to tremble violently. Both his body and soul were in excruciating pain. His body began to sway violently, as if it were about to split apart, and another figure appeared. In the blink of an eye, another few days passed. This time, with the experience of creating his past self, the process was much smoother. A few days later, Lu Ming successfully created his future self. Sitting cross-legged opposite Lu Ming's present body was a figure that looked identical to Lu Ming. It was his future body. It was just that the current future self did not have the slightest bit of cultivation, nor the slightest bit of power. It was incomparably pure. Good, good, good. Jade Maiden danced around the future body unceasingly, sizing it up unceasingly. She was very satisfied. In her opinion, the future self was very suitable to cultivate qi refinement art. It was more suitable than Lu Ming's self-destruction of cultivation. Because the future self had not cultivated before, it was very pure. It was like a piece of unpolished jade that had not been carved. As long as it was slightly carved, it could become a piece of treasure. I will now teach you the qi refinement art's cultivation method. Immediately, Jade Maiden dictated the qi refinement art's cultivation method. Lu Ming memorized it in his heart. Subsequently, Lu Ming's future self began to comprehend the qi refinement art. Lu Ming's present self sat quietly at the side and did not disturb it. The future self was incomparably pure. Moreover, it had the talent and comprehension of the present self. Unexpectedly, there were no obstacles in cultivating qi refinement art. It was very smooth. In just 3 months, the future self had cultivated qi refinement art. In his dantian, a wisp of qi was condensed. This qi was completely different from true qi and divine qi. It seemed to be of a higher level and purer. Amazing, amazing, truly amazing. You actually managed to cultivate qi refinement art in just 3 months. You are simply a genius in cultivating qi refinement art. Jade Maiden kept circling Lu Ming's future self. Her face was full of admiration. Whatever I cultivate, I am a genius. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Of course, he did not say it out loud. He was afraid that Jade Maiden would be unhappy. After all, he had not obtained the 5 elements immortal tier yet. Jade Maiden, can you give me the 5 elements immortal tier now? Lu Ming's present self said. Of course, but your future self has to stay here and continue cultivating. You should know that qi refinement art is all-encompassing and unfathomable. You have only grasped the surface of it. There are still countless things to learn. It will take a long time. Jade Maiden said. No problem, my future self will stay here and learn from you. Lu Ming's present self nodded. As for his future self, he naturally wouldn't object. His original intention was to cultivate qi refinement art. Alright, I'll give you the 5 elements immortal tier. Jade Maiden stretched out her hand and pointed in the air. A ripple appeared in the air, and then a jade bottle appeared out of thin air. No storage ring, what kind of method is this? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Jade Maiden was just an illusion, not a physical body, and did not have any storage treasures. The jade bottle seemed to have appeared out of thin air. Could it be that the item was hidden in the void? The jade lady waved her hand, and the jade bottle flew toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming reached out and received it. When he opened it, he saw 3 drops of liquid inside. They were like water droplets, crystal clear. However, when Lu Ming took a closer look, the color of the water droplets changed again. They emitted a colorless light that was dazzling. With the 5 elements immortal tier in hand, Lu Ming was overjoyed. Qiu Qiu and Ling Yue were saved. Thank you. Lu Ming's present self cupped his fists and said. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Jade Maiden waved her hand again and again with a look of disdain. Her current thoughts were all on her future self. A wave of energy appeared out of thin air and enveloped Lu Ming's present self. With a roll, Lu Ming's body directly disappeared from his original spot. In the next moment, Lu Ming discovered that he had already left the secret room and reappeared outside the golden wall of light. Young Master. Big Brother Lu Ming. When Autumn Moon and Bubbles saw Lu Ming, they immediately flew over. Big Brother Lu Ming, how is it? Did you get the 5 elements immortal tier? Bubbles asked. Got it. Lu Ming nodded. Autumn Moon and Bubbles were overjoyed. Dandan, that guy is really lucky. He's saved now. Bubble chuckled. Although she and Dandan often bickered, their relationship was actually very close. With Dandan's life and death unknown, she was also burning with anxiety. Let's go, let's leave this place and find a place to recover Dandan and Ling Yue. Lu Ming said. Chapter 4390. Lu Ming and the other two returned along the way they came. Very quickly, they left the 5 elements immortal mountain and flew into the distance. Very quickly, they arrived at a relatively remote place. They planned to save Dandan and Ling Yue before returning to the Heavenly Might Star Palace. Bubbles, take out Dandan and Ling Yue's souls. Lu Ming said to Bubbles. Bubbles nodded and with a wave of his hand, Dandan and Ling Yue's souls flew out. Their souls were wrapped in layers of time and space energy, and their bodies were covered in runes. Even so, after this period of time, their souls had dimmed quite a bit and become even weaker. In their bodies, the restrictive power of the Heavenly Palace's Heavenly Soldier battle armor was still constantly destroying their souls. If not for the double protection of the formation and the time and space energy, their souls would have completely dissipated long ago. Even so, their souls wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Fortunately, the 5 elements immortal tiers were in his hands. According to Dandan, as long as the 5 elements immortal tiers fused with their souls, not only would they be able to dispel the restrictive power in their souls, they would also be able to strengthen their souls and even help them recondense their bodies and completely recover. Let's begin. Lu Ming whispered as he took out a jade bottle and opened it. Using the forbidden power, 2 drops of 5 elements immortal tears flew out and flew towards Dandan and Ling Yue's souls. Under the control of Bubbles, the time and space energy did not obstruct the 5 elements immortal tears in the slightest. It passed through the time and space energy and flew towards their souls. As soon as it came into contact with their souls, the 5 elements immortal tears fused into their souls and disappeared. But in the next moment, their souls suddenly shone brightly. Strands of resplendent multicolored light burst out from their souls. Within the multicolored light, there were also traces of black mist. It really works. Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, and Bubbles all revealed looks of joy. This was because it was obvious that this black mist was the restrictive power of the Heavenly Soldier battle armor. At this moment, this restrictive power was being destroyed by the 5 elements immortal tears. About 3 minutes later, there was no more black mist coming out. This meant that the power of the restriction had been completely wiped out. After the power of the restriction was destroyed, the 2 people's souls quickly changed color and solidified. Furthermore, there was a powerful fluctuation. It was the fluctuation of their souls. Originally, there hadn't been any fluctuations in their souls. But now, there were intense fluctuations. Furthermore, the fluctuations were becoming more and more intense. Lu Ming and the other 2 felt that Dandan and Ling Yue's souls seemed to contain an incomparably terrifying power that was currently changing. Withdraw. Bubble called out. With a wave of her hand, the space-time energy that wrapped around their souls vanished without a trace. At the same time, the runes covering their souls disappeared without a trace. The restrictive power had already been obliterated, so there was no longer a need for protection. If the formation and space-time power continued to envelop the area, it would instead affect the effects of the 5 elements' immortal tears. As expected, after the formation and space-time powers were removed, the light on their souls became even more resplendent. Their souls looked like 2 pieces of glass, as if they had become solid. Then, with their souls as the foundation, flesh and blood were constantly being produced. This was a recondensing of their bodies. One could clearly see that strands of flesh and drops of blood were constantly being produced. This process lasted for about 3 hours. Dandan and Ling Yuwei's bodies reappeared in front of the 3 of them. However, they were enveloped by a layer of light. Boom! Following that, a powerful aura rushed out of their bodies. This aura grew stronger as it aged. Divine Lord, Divine Emperor, First Level Divine Emperor. Soon, they reached the 8th level of the Divine Emperor realm. This was the original realm of Egi and Ling Yuwei, but this wasn't the end. Their auras continued to rise, and soon, they reached the 9th level of the Divine Emperor realm. Only after reaching the 9th level of the Divine Emperor realm did their auras stop rising. However, the changes to the 2 of them weren't over yet. First, a word rushed out from between Dandan's eyebrows. This was an origin ancient word. This word was the word formation. The origin ancient word formation was previously hidden in Dandan's soul. At the same time, runes constantly spread out around Dandan's body. These runes interweaved into different formations. These formations collapsed as soon as they appeared, and then turned into another formation. Just like this, the formations alternated. In an instant, there were hundreds of formations alternating. It was incomparably mysterious. On the other side, Ling Yuwei seemed to have turned into a seed. Then, this seed quickly took root and grew leaves, and finally formed a towering tree. This tree was the Elven Sacred Tree. The Elven Sacred Tree emitted endless life essence, as if it was a world tree. It's evolving in all aspects. The 5 elements' immortal tears are truly miraculous. Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, and Bubbles were all sighing. Obviously, the 5 elements' immortal tears not only removed the restrictive power of the heavenly armor, but also helped them condense their bodies. It even helped them break through their cultivation and evolve in other aspects. For example, their physique secret techniques, origin divine power factor, origin secret techniques, and so on were all improving. One could imagine that after the 2 of them recovered, their combat strength would definitely soar. As for how far they could reach, it was still impossible to judge. This process lasted for a long time. It lasted for a full 3 days before the phenomenon around Dandan and Ling Yuwei disappeared. The multicolored light also disappeared, and their auras stabilized. Then, the 2 of them opened their eyes one after another. Ha ha ha, I've revived. Ha ha ha, those fellows from the heavenly human race want to harm me? No way. Who am I? How can they control me? As soon as he saw Lu Ming and the other 2, Dandan laughed out loud and boasted. Lu Ming's eyelids twitched as he directly kicked Dandan, causing him to spin 720 degrees in the air. You brat, if it weren't for me, you would have been able to revive. You still have the face to boast, Lu Ming said with great disdain. Lu Ming, you dare to kick me, Dandan covered his butt and jumped 3 feet high. He stared at Lu Ming with wide eyes and gritted his teeth, but in the end, he didn't dare to make a move. Lu Ming, you are also a part of my plan. I already knew that you would be able to obtain the 5 elements' immortal tears, so I set up such a plan. To put it bluntly, you are also my chess piece. Do you understand? Ha ha ha, I'm such a genius. I can even think of such a perfect plan. The more Dandan spoke, the more excited he became. He was so happy that he was about to dance. Mu Yun, you lied to me? At this moment, a voice rang out, causing Dandan's voice to abruptly stop. This was because this voice came from Ling Yue. Chapter 4391. Not good, I spilled the beans just now. Dandan muttered in his heart. He was so excited just now that he had called out Lu Ming's original name, forgetting that Ling Yue did not know Lu Ming's true identity. At this moment, Ling Yue's beautiful eyes were staring at Lu Ming, as if she wanted Lu Ming to tell her the answer. Lu Ming was silent. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. Are you Lu Ming or Mu Yun? Ling Yue stared at Lu Ming and asked again. Miss Yue, I'm really sorry. My real identity is Lu Ming. The name Mu Yun is someone else's. The real Mu Yun of the Fengdu sword sect, who is also your real fiancé, might have died. Lu Ming said, directly revealing the truth. Why? Ling Yue's delicate body trembled as tears welled up in her eyes. Her eyes flashed with confusion and deep sorrow. She had always treated Lu Ming as her real fiancé, and had long since given her heart to Lu Ming as the person she had entrusted her life to. But now, she suddenly realized that Lu Ming's true identity was not Mu Yun, nor was he her fiancé. Her real fiancé might have died a long time ago. This news had a huge impact on her. Her heart was in complete chaos. Miss Yue, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hide it from you. Back then, I needed to borrow this identity to enter the Heavenly Palace, Lu Ming explained. You don't have to explain. Ling Yue said. Her gaze circled around Lu Ming and Autumn Moon, as if she had understood something. No, Lu Ming, you shouldn't have lied to me. You should have told me earlier. Ling Yue said. I'm sorry, Lu Ming still wanted to say more. It's useless to say more. From now on, you and I have nothing to do with each other. When we meet in the future, we will be passers-by. After saying that, Ling Yue turned around and stepped into the air. She was very decisive and direct. However, the moment Yue turned around, a teardrop fell from the sky and drifted with the wind towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming stretched out his hand, and tears fell onto his palm. They were ice-cold, as if they were carved into Ling Yue's heart. At this time, Ling Yue had already left, disappearing before everyone's eyes. Sigh. Lu Ming let out a long sigh in his heart. Originally, he had used the identity of Cloud Herder to enter the Heavenly Palace and become a heavenly soldier. He had never thought that this identity would cause so many things to happen and cause so many disputes with Ling Yue. After being together for such a long time, it would be a lie to say that he didn't have any fluctuations in his heart towards Ling Yue. However, what could he do now? How could he explain it? Young master, aren't you going to chase after them? Xiao Yu walked over and held Lu Ming's hand, saying softly. What can we do even if we catch up? What explanation can I give? Lu Ming muttered and shook his head slightly. Lu Ming, look, you're messing around again, aren't you? Another girl has been hurt by you. Dandan curled his lips at the side. That's right, that's right. The bubble head nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. So much nonsense. Let's go back to the Heavenly Might Star Palace. Lu Ming said, and then walked towards the direction of the Heavenly Might Star Palace. Dandan curled his lips and followed behind Lu Ming. A group of 4, no, to be precise, 2 people, 1 turtle and 1 mouse, headed towards the Heavenly Might Star Palace. After crossing several star palaces, they returned to the Heavenly Might Star Palace. After returning to the Heavenly Might Star Palace, they headed towards the hidden area. Now, Dandan and Ling Yue had been saved, and the restriction power of the Heavenly Soldier battle armor in their bodies had been removed. Now, Lu Ming was going to use all his strength to condense the Great Desolate Pill and break through to the 9th layer of the Great God Realm. Although his current battle strength was strong, reaching 13 stars, his cultivation was only at the 8th layer of the Great God Realm, which was still a little weak. Only when his cultivation reached the 9th layer of the Great God Realm would he not be afraid of anyone. Soon, they approached the largest earth vein. From afar, they could already see the 4 towering trees on the earth vein. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. The 4 trees were still there, which meant that the earth vein had not been broken through. If it had been broken through, the 4 trees would not have been intact without the sun. But at this time, Lu Ming suddenly felt a sense of danger. "Wait a minute, there's danger ahead," Lu Ming called out. In fact, there was no need for Lu Ming to call out. Autumn Moon, Bubbles, and Dandan also felt it. They involuntarily stopped and looked around. Swoosh! 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 At this time, on the ground and in the sky, many people rushed out and surrounded Lu Ming and the other 3. There were at least 1,000 of them. They were all from the heavenly human tribe. Most of them were strong men, but there were also a few of them who were young and powerful. Their terrifying auras gathered together and pressed down on their heads like mountains. The expressions of Lu Ming and the other 3 turned grave. These 1,000 heavenly human tribe members were all at the 9th layer of the Great God Realm. Obviously, the heavenly human tribe members knew that Lu Ming had left the earth vein, so they did not attack it. Instead, they were lying in ambush, waiting for Lu Ming to return. Oh no! At this moment, Yi Ling was refining pills on the earth vein. He was also alarmed and his face changed. When he saw so many heavenly human tribe members, he knew that Lu Ming had returned and was surrounded. However, there was still a long way to go. The 4 trees could not help at all. And with his battle prowess, after all, he was alone and weak. Even if he went, he wouldn't be able to help and could only be anxious. Lu Ming and the other 3 looked serious, but they were still calm. Mu Yun, you're finally back. This time, let's see how you're going to die. A cold and arrogant voice was heard. A young heavenly human tribe member stepped out from the crowd. This person was Yelu Di. Yelu Di glanced at Lu Ming and the other 3. When he saw Dandan, his eyes widened in disbelief. He shouted, "It's you, the World Divine Turtle. How is this possible? How are you still alive? How are you still intact?" Yelu Di was really shocked. Last time, he clearly activated the power of the restriction and turned Dandan into ashes. At most, Dandan only had a soul that hadn't been annihilated, but it couldn't have survived for long. But now, Dandan was resurrected. Judging by its aura, it seemed to be stronger than before. How was this possible? Yelu Di was not the only one. Some of the people who were with Yelu Di last time saw Dandan's fate with their own eyes. At this moment, their hearts were in turmoil. "Humph, you want to harm me? You're delusional," Dandan said proudly. "Humph, so what if I'm resurrected? This time, I'll turn you into ashes," Yelu Di said coldly. Then, a disc array appeared in his hand. This disc array was the one that controlled the power of the seal. After taking out the disc array, Yelu Di immediately activated the disc array to activate the power of the seal. Chapter 4392. The disc array in Yelu Di's hand lit up and was about to activate the power of the restriction. During this process, Dandan had been curling his lips and looking at Yelu Di with a mocking expression. Buzz! The disc array trembled slightly and light filled the air. However, Dandan was completely fine. He just looked at Yelu Di with even more mockery in his eyes. What's going on? Why isn't there any movement from the restriction? I don't believe it. Again. Yelu Di roared in his heart. He continued to pour power into the disk array, causing it to tremble even more violently. However, Dandan was still completely fine. Don't waste your energy. Your restriction power is useless against me. Dandan's mocking voice sounded. Impossible, how can the restriction power be ineffective against you? Could it be that you have already destroyed the restriction power? That's impossible. The restriction power can penetrate into the 60 trillion cells in the body. It's impossible for you to destroy it, even with Mu Yun's help. Yelu Di roared in disbelief. In front of me, anything is possible. Dandan put his hands behind his back and put on a very arrogant look. Impossible, impossible. How is this possible? All the heavenly human tribe members present were in disbelief. It was as if the truth they had always known had been broken. However, there was nothing they could do about it. The truth was right in front of them. So what if he broke the restriction power? Why would we need the restriction power to kill them? Activate the 9 heavens battle formation and kill them in one fell swoop. At this moment, another heavenly human tribe prodigy said coldly. That's right. Activate the 9 heavens battle formation and kill them in one fell swoop. The other heavenly human tribe prodigies also spoke one after another with cold killing intent. This time, there were many heavenly human tribe prodigies who came. There were also many who were at the same level as Yeludi. Of course, it was not only the heavenly human tribe from the mighty Sky Star Palace. Many other star palaces had brought their people with the goal of killing Lu Ming. 9 heavens battle formation, activate. Finally, thousands of heavenly human tribe experts flashed and set up the 9 heavens battle formation. An incomparably huge celestial king was formed, emitting incomparably terrifying fluctuations. Thousands of cultivators of the 9th great supreme god layer had created the battle formation of the 9 heavens. They were terrifyingly strong. Lu Ming and the other 3 would definitely not be able to stop him. Humph, trying to play with formations in front of me? You're just showing off in front of an expert. Dandan coldly shouted. His body slightly moved, and countless runes rushed out of his body. Runes rushed out of every pore on his body and disappeared into the void. Within a breath's time, Dandan had sent out countless runes. Attack, kill them. Yeludi roared, urging everyone to take action immediately to avoid any unforeseen circumstances. Kill. All of the heavenly human race cultivators roared at the same time and activated the 9 heavens battle formation. The incomparably huge heavenly human race king waved his battle sword and slashed towards Lu Ming and the others. It was too terrifying. As the battle sword was waved, the void kept exploding. Even an ordinary divine master would have to avoid such power. It was definitely not something that Lu Ming and the others could resist. Under such an attack, even Bubble's space-time energy would not be able to escape. The difference was too great. Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, and Bubble's faces were solemn. Now, they could only rely on Dandan. At this moment, runes suddenly appeared among the thousands of heavenly human race cultivators who had set up the formation. These runes seemed to have cut off the connection between the heavenly human race cultivators. The huge heavenly human race king's aura rapidly weakened. Then, with a bang, it turned into a burst of energy and dissipated. The 9 heavens battle formation was broken just like that. The heavenly human race cultivators were in disbelief. However, Lu Ming was not too surprised. The world turtle race was born for rune formations. They were born to master all kinds of rune formations. As for Dandan, she was the top heaven's pride of the turtle clan in the world. She had also obtained the origin source ancient character matrix. Her mastery of rune matrices had reached an unimaginable level. Moreover, Lu Ming was sure that Dandan had studied the 9 heavens battle formation before. Therefore, it was not difficult for him to find the flaw of the 9 heavens battle formation and break it in one fell swoop. Moreover, these heavenly human race cultivators were from different factions. Even if they had set up the Nine Heavens battle formation, it would not be perfect. It would be easier for Dandan to break it. Kill. Kill. As soon as the Nine Heavens battle formation was broken, Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, and Bubbles made their moves. Bubbles waved her hands and the space-time energy exploded. With Bubbles as the center, it spread in all directions and enveloped all the heavenly human race cultivators. Ah! Why is my skin drying up? Why is my hair turning white? Someone shouted in fright because he realized that his skin was drying up quickly. His golden hair was turning white and his body was aging rapidly. In the end, his body rotted and turned into ashes. This was due to the influence of the power of time. The acceleration of time caused these people to rapidly age until they decayed. Some people's bodies had cracks on them and then they were torn apart. They had been killed by the space-time energy. Of course, these people were the ones with weaker cultivations. The stronger ones were able to withstand the corrosion of the space-time energy. However, even though they had blocked it, they were still affected. Their strength and speed were suppressed. At the same time, Lu Ming and Xiao Yu joined forces and charged toward the heavenly human tribe. Numerous attacks were launched toward the heavenly human tribe. Although those heavenly human race cultivators were at the 9th layer of the Great God realm, most of them only had 5 or 6 stars of battle strength. They were no match for Lu Ming and Autumn Moon. Moreover, they were suppressed by the space-time energy. They could not block Lu Ming and Autumn Moon's attacks. Every time an attack flashed, a heavenly human race cultivator would be killed. Blood splattered everywhere and screams could be heard. In an instant, dozens of heavenly human race cultivators had been killed by Lu Ming and the other two. Damn it! You're courting death! Yelu Di shouted. His eyes were red as he charged towards Lu Ming and the other three. At the same time, the other peerless geniuses who had 9 or 10 stars of battle strength also charged towards Lu Ming and the other three. Their battle strength was strong and they were not suppressed by the space-time energy. Avoid them! Lu Ming shouted. He used a movement technique and retreated quickly to avoid those peerless geniuses. Autumn Moon, Bubble, and the others did the same. They did not want to be entangled with those peerless geniuses. Instead, they charged towards the heavenly human race cultivators. With the support of the space-time energy, they were extremely fast. In an instant, they had caught up with the heavenly human race cultivators. Powerful attacks exploded and the heavenly human race cultivators were killed one by one. Of course, their interspatial rings fell into the hands of Lu Ming and the others. Damn it! Damn it! Yelu Di and the other peerless geniuses roared. However, they could not catch up with Lu Ming and the others. In the space-time energy, they could not use their full strength. Chapter 4393. The heavenly human tribe's 9 heavens battle formation was broken, and they were suppressed by the space-time power. Lu Ming and the others deliberately avoided the top geniuses of the heavenly human tribe and went to kill the strong men. It was not too difficult to kill them. In a short while, more than 60 strong men of the heavenly human tribe died in their hands. The other strong men of the heavenly human tribe were shocked. They kept retreating, not daring to get close to Lu Ming and the others. Without the support of the 9 heavens battle formation, these strong men of the heavenly human tribe were too weak compared to Autumn Moon and the others. All of you stay here! Bubbles shouted, and 2 origin ancient words flew out. The space-time power kept erupting and surging towards the people of the heavenly human tribe. Dandan was also extremely powerful. Light kept rushing out of his body, and when the light rushed out, it turned into a formation. Within a breath's time, hundreds of array formations appeared in the world. The speed of setting up the array formations was simply incredible. Even Lu Ming was dumbstruck at the sight. Obviously, after Dandan was revived by the 5 elements fairy tier, his combat strength had also increased greatly. It was hard to tell how many stars he could reach. Because Dandan controlled the runic formations, all kinds of runic formations were combined, and it was extremely mysterious and difficult to deal with. With the combination of all kinds of formations, it was not impossible to fight with existences with higher combat strength. There were all kinds of formations, trapping enemies, attacking, confusing, illusory, and so on. They all rushed towards the people of the heavenly human tribe. It could be said that with the cooperation of Dandan and Bubbles, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon could kill the people of the heavenly human tribe as easily as cutting vegetables. However, this time, Lu Ming was shocked. Because 2 figures suddenly rushed out from the crowd and rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. Their speed was extremely shocking, and they quickly approached Lu Ming and the others. Dandan shouted, and the formations changed direction and rushed towards this person. However, this person was too terrifying. His whole body was like a peerless sharp divine sword. Wherever he rushed, one formation after another was broken. Over 100 formations were broken through in an instant. Dandan's expression changed, and he shouted angrily. His hands danced quickly, and under his feet, there was a dazzling light, and a huge formation appeared. This time, there was only one formation, but it was much bigger and more complicated than the previous ones. Roar! A giant beast rushed out of the formation. This gigantic beast looked extremely ferocious. It had the body of a tiger but the head of a divine dragon. Its entire body was covered in scales as it charged towards the figure. Boom! The 2 of them collided, and an earth-shattering explosion erupted. Then, both sides rapidly retreated. However, Dandan had retreated even further, and the light of the formation beneath his feet had dimmed considerably. Yi Chu Qianye. That figure was indeed one of the heavenly human clan sons of heaven, Yi Chu Qianye. No wonder his strength was so terrifying. His combat strength was stronger than Dandan's. Qianye retreated, and his eyes were cold. The power of heavenly punishment in his right hand and the power of heavenly extermination in his left hand intertwined with each other, and he attacked Dandan again. On the other side, another figure rushed over. It was a woman from the heavenly human tribe. She was extremely beautiful, but her strength was abnormally terrifying. Bubbles' spacetime energy kept exploding in front of her. She kept breaking through the spacetime energy, and rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. Spacetime blade, slash! Bubbles shouted, and a huge arc-shaped weapon appeared in her hand. It was completely condensed by the spacetime energy, and it contained a terrifying attack power. The spacetime blade slashed towards the heavenly human tribe woman. An axe appeared in the heavenly human tribe woman's hand. The petite figure wielded a huge axe and swung it at Bubble, colliding with the spacetime blade. With a loud clang, a destructive force swept out in all directions. Bubble and the heavenly human woman trembled and were sent flying backward. They were evenly matched. So strong. Could this heavenly human tribe woman be a heavenly daughter? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Bubbles was now at the 9th layer of the Great Supreme God realm, and her combat strength had reached 11 stars. The heavenly human tribe woman was evenly matched with Bubbles, so she obviously had 11 stars of combat strength. It was highly possible that she was a heavenly daughter. This time, the ambush for Lu Ming and the others was not led by Yelu Di and the others. It was led by a few heavenly daughters. Qianye Chu Qiancheng's eyes were cold, and when he looked at Lu Ming, his eyes were filled with killing intent. In the 5-element celestial mountain, Lu Ming had passed through the golden light wall first. It was a great humiliation for him. Therefore, he came out first, and when he found out which star palace Lu Ming was in, he immediately contacted the other heavenly sons and heavenly daughters to ambush Lu Ming. Now, how could he let Lu Ming go? Die. Qianye Chu Qianyue shouted. His golden hair fluttered in the wind, and his body was covered by two supreme forces. He madly rushed towards Lu Ming. How could Dandan allow him to get close to Lu Ming? The runes on his body flashed, and he appeared in front of Qianye Chu Qianyue. Another formation was activated, and another giant beast was formed, pouncing towards Qianye Chu Qianyue. Dandan and Qianye Chu Qianyue fought fiercely. Although Dandan was slightly weaker than Yi Qianyue in a head-on confrontation, Dandan possessed too many tricks up her sleeves. She possessed all sorts of spirit formations and unleashed all sorts of spirit formations to tangle with her opponent. At that moment, Yi Qianyue was unable to do anything to Dandan. However, Dandan and Bubbles were entangled with each other. Muyun, your life is mine now. Muyun's life is mine. Those weaker geniuses, such as Yelu Di and the others, madly rushed towards Lu Ming. Come on. Lu Ming's eyes were bright, and spear light was constantly bursting out from his pores. His whole body seemed to have turned into a long spear. Qianye Chu Qianyue's sacred heart was beating violently in her heart. Her whole body was shrouded in nine-colored light, and she was ready to launch a powerful attack. However, at this time, a figure suddenly rushed out from behind Yelu Di and the others. His speed was much faster than Yelu Di and the others, and he rushed towards Lu Ming and Qianye Chu Qianyue at an even faster speed. It was a young man from the heavenly human tribe. He was very young and handsome, and he had a strange temperament. He was holding a long spear in his hand. Swoosh! A ray of spear gleam suddenly pierced toward Lu Ming. The speed was so fast that it was shocking. It was not far from Lu Ming in an instant. Young master, be careful! Qianye Chu Qianyue exclaimed. She had been on guard, and now she acted immediately. The nine-colored light turned into a curved blade, slashing towards the spear light, trying to block it. Clang! The nine-colored curved blade hit the spear light accurately. Then, the nine-colored curved blade vibrated violently, and then it collapsed with a bang. The spear light did not stop there, and it continued to pierce towards Qianye Chu Qianyue. Qianye Chu Qianyue had just attacked with all her might, and it was too late for her to dodge. Chapter 43-94. The terrifying spear light was about to hit Autumn Moon, and Autumn Moon would not be able to dodge it. At the critical moment, Lu Ming used the Greater Aurora technique and hugged Autumn Moon. In a flash, they appeared 100 miles away and dodged the attack. This person is so strong. Lu Ming's face was solemn. The strength of this young angel was absolutely terrifying. With Autumn Moon's strength, her strongest attack was defeated and almost hit by the opponent's attack. This young man's strength was definitely above Yechu Qianyue's, and not just by a little. It's him, Yechu Tianji. At this moment, Yelu Di and the others were shocked. They could not help but stop and look at Yechu Tianji in awe. Yechu Tianji was a legendary figure in the heavenly human tribe. His talent was peerless and incomparably terrifying. The four heavenly palace had a total of 9 heavenly sons and daughters, but even the heavenly sons and daughters were divided into strong and weak. As for Yechu Tianji, he was clearly an existence that stood at the peak. It was rumored that Yechu Tianji was one of the 2 strongest heavenly sons and daughters. Of course, there was a 5th heavenly palace in the heavenly palace. It was unknown whether there was someone comparable to Yechu Tianji in it. They did not expect that even Yechu Tianji would appear. Mu Yun is dead for sure. Yelu Di and the others thought in their hearts and did not continue to attack. Because they knew that with Yechu Tianji here, there was no need for them to attack, and they would not be allowed to. Yechu Tianji stepped forward and closed in on Lu Ming and Autumn Moon. His eyes were cold and filled with an invincible spirit. He was domineering and domineering. You are not bad to be able to block my attack. I did not expect that there would be such a woman in the human tribe. Follow me from now on and be my concubine. I can give you everything you want. Yichu Tianji looked at Autumn Moon and said to Autumn Moon. His words were filled with boundless confidence. He was one of the two strongest warriors of the Heavenly Palace's younger generation. Not only that, but even in the history of the Heavenly Human Tribe, there were very few who were as powerful and talented as he was. The young generation of the Heavenly Palace was especially strong, much stronger than before. That was why there were two geniuses at his level. If it was in the past, he would be the king of an era. A figure like him was destined to become one of the top figures of the Heavenly Human Tribe in the future, ruling over the primitive universe. What did he not have? Therefore, he was very confident and directly said that he would give Autumn Moon everything that she wanted. I only want young master. Autumn Moon shook his head and took half a step forward to stand in front of Lu Ming. He stared at Yichu Tianji cautiously. Jealousy. Intense jealousy filled Yichu Tianji's heart. Such a peerless beauty had actually rejected him. Such a woman could become a heavenly maiden in the Heavenly Human Tribe, but she called Lu Ming young master. Even he did not have such a maid, nor was he qualified to have such a maid. But Lu Ming did. Who was Lu Ming? He was just a lowly human. What right did he have to have such a peerless beauty as his maid? The raging flames of jealousy seemed to be about to materialize. This made the murderous intent in Yichu Tianji's eyes when he looked at Lu Ming. You'd better think carefully. Following me is your best choice. In terms of background, the Heavenly Human Tribe rules the primitive universe. In terms of talent, I am the strongest of the young generation of the Heavenly Human Tribe. No, I am the strongest in the universe. Follow me and you will not die, and you will also obtain unimaginable benefits. Yichu Tianji continued. It would be a pity to kill a woman like Autumn Moon. He still wanted to persuade her. No, my young master is the strongest. Autumn Moon said firmly. Ha ha ha, he is the strongest. Yichu Tianji was so angry that he laughed. He looked at Lu Ming with a hint of contempt. Although he has the forbidden power, he still has to kneel in front of me, boom. As soon as he finished speaking, Yichu Tianji took a step forward. A violent aura soared into the sky. The entire world seemed to be covered by a boundless mountain. It was suffocating. Yichu Tianji was also at the 9th level of the Divine God realm, but the pressure he gave off was much stronger than the others. At the same time, 3 rays of light appeared around Yichu Tianji's body. One ray of light was formed by small white lightning bolts. It kept twisting and turning into a battle sword in the end. This was the power of heaven's punishment. The other ray of light was gray and turned into a battle sword. This was the power of heavenly extermination. The other ray of light turned into a spear. This was the power of heavenly punishment. 3 kinds of heavenly powers. Lu Ming's pupils shrank and his face turned solemn. Yichu Tianji actually controlled 3 kinds of heavenly powers. This was the first time Lu Ming had seen such a thing. Lu Ming had seen the Heavenly Human Tribe's heavenly masters in action before, but they only controlled 2 kinds of heavenly powers. However, Yichu Tianji actually controlled 3 kinds of heavenly powers. This was absolutely terrifying. No wonder this person was so confident. Lu Ming and the others were not the only ones who were shocked. Even the members of the Heavenly Human Tribe were shocked. 3 kinds of heavenly powers. Oh my God, Lord Yichu Tianji really controlled 3 kinds of heavenly powers. The legend is true. Those who can control 1 kind of heavenly powers are already peerless geniuses. Lord Tianzi can actually control 3 kinds of heavenly powers. How did he cultivate? I'm so jealous. There's no need to be jealous. The gap is too big. The members of the Heavenly Human Tribe discussed. In the heavenly human tribe, it was extremely rare to control one kind of heavenly powers, let alone 3 kinds of heavenly powers. It was said that there were very few of the heavenly human tribe's older generation members who were still alive. After accumulating for a long time, there were very few who could control 3 supreme heavenly powers. To be honest, Yi Chu Tianji did have the right to be arrogant. No wonder he didn't even take the forbidden body seriously. Today, I want a forbidden body to kneel in front of me. I'll let you know who's the strongest. Yi Chu Tianji looked at Autumn Moon. Then, he looked at Dandan and Bubbles and said, I'll also give you 2 a chance to join me. My target is not you. As long as you join me, I'll forgive all your past mistakes and give you a bright future. To be honest, he was also very tempted by Dandan and Bubbles. If Autumn Moon, Dandan and Bubbles joined him, no one in the heavenly human tribe would be able to compete with him. Not even Yi Ling Hongye, who was as famous as him. Are you dreaming? Dandan's reply was even more direct. You're not worthy. Bubbles' reply was even more infuriating. The killing intent in Yi Chu Tianji's eyes suddenly exploded. The anger in his heart completely exploded. Ungrateful idiots. Since you're so stubborn, I'll kill you all together. Yi Chu Tianji shouted coldly. 3 types of weapons condensed by the supreme power of heaven blasted toward Lu Ming. Chapter 4395. Yi Chu Tianji made a powerful move. His 3 weapons were all condensed from the supreme power of heaven. The power of heaven's punishment condensed into a huge battle sword that was 10,000 miles long. When the sword slashed out, endless lightning filled the air and the sky crackled. The power of heaven's punishment condensed into a battle sword. The sword light was also 10,000 miles long. Everywhere it passed, a destructive force pressed down on Lu Ming and the others. The power of heaven's punishment turned into a long spear that pierced through the void and went straight for Lu Ming's forehead. The 3 supreme powers of heaven's punishment attacked together. It was too terrifying. Their combat strength was far beyond Yi Chu Tianyue's. 12 stars of combat strength. Lu Ming was sure that Yi Chu Tianji's combat strength had definitely reached 12 stars. Although 12 stars of combat strength was only 1 star higher than 11 stars, it was much stronger. If the 2 sides fought, it would be completely crushed. With the strength of Qiu Moon and Lu Ming, they would definitely be killed by the other side. However, they had to fight with all their might. Lu Ming pushed his combat strength to the peak and prepared to fight with all his might. So did Qiu Moon. At this moment, something unexpected happened. Suddenly, a terrifying sound of something breaking through the air came from the sky. The black lotuses flew toward Yi Chu Tianji at a shocking speed. Yi Chu Tianji was the target. There were more than 100 black lotuses in total. In the process of flying, the petals of the lotuses fell off and stuck together to form 3 long swords. They flew toward Yi Chu Tianji's 3 weapons condensed from the supreme power of heaven. The speed of the 2 weapons was very shocking. Before the crowd could react, they collided. Boom! 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 3 consecutive heaven-shaking explosions rang out, and the 6 weapons of both sides all exploded. Yi Chu Tianji's attack was actually blocked. The 3 weapons that were condensed from the power of the heavens were actually destroyed. Everyone's hearts couldn't help but tremble violently. Especially the people of the heavenly human tribe. It was simply unbelievable. In this world, other than Yi Chu Tianji's Yi Chu Hongye, there was actually someone who could block Yi Chu Tianji's attack? Who was it? Subconsciously, everyone's gaze turned to the sky. Among the crowd, Lu Ming was the most excited. That was because he didn't need to look to know who it was. Xian Yanqing. Without looking, Lu Ming knew that it was Xian Yanqing. He was too familiar with Xian Yanqing. He knew at the moment he made his move. Sure enough, from the heavenly palace, a beautiful woman was walking through the air. This woman was wearing a black dress. She was beautiful and had an unparalleled temperament. Who else could she be but Xian Yanqing? Lu Ming's heart began to race. His eyes fell on Xian Yanqing, unable to move away. Similarly, Xian Yanqing's eyes also landed on Lu Ming. It was as if she only had eyes for Lu Ming and no one else. "Who are you?" Yi Chu Tianji said coldly, but a trace of seriousness flashed in the depths of his eyes. That was because he felt a strong pressure from Xian Yanqing. He had only felt this kind of pressure from Yi Ling Hongye and had never felt it before. Now, from Xian Yanqing, he felt this pressure for the second time. He found it hard to believe. In this world, other than Yi Ling Hongye, who else could compete with him? In his mind, he quickly searched for all the top geniuses in the universe, including Heaven Destroyer. But there was none. As far as he knew, among the younger generation of Heaven Destroyer, no one could compete with him. Even the strongest person was weaker than him. He had never heard of Xian Yanqing, nor had he seen him before. "The person who will kill you." Xian Yanqing smiled at Lu Ming, then looked at Yi Chu Tianji with cold murderous intent. That guy again, this Lu Ming again. Yi Chu Tianji roared in his heart. His jealousy of Lu Ming was about to drive him crazy. As long as one wasn't blind, one could see that the relationship between Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming was not ordinary. Why were such beauties and peerless geniuses gathered around Lu Ming? How unfair was the heavens? "You think you can kill me? What a joke. It's good that you're all here today. I'll catch you all in one fell swoop." Yi Chu Tianji roared and the three supreme heavenly powers were released again. This time, they didn't turn into weapons, but three beasts that pounced on Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing stepped in the air, her long skirt fluttering. She pressed her hands together and a magical field spread out, expanding rapidly and enveloping Yi Chu Tianji. At the same time, a huge black lotus with 108 petals appeared under her feet, supporting Xian Yanqing. Swoosh! 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 The petals of the black lotus flew out continuously, cutting through the air and flying towards Yi Chu Tianji. The attacks of the two sides collided for the second time. The three strange beasts formed from the power of the heavens rampaged through the air. The black lotus petals were incomparably sharp, and they were extremely flexible. They were unfathomably mysterious. For a moment, the two sides were locked in a fierce battle. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of blows, but there was no clear winner. The more Yi Chu Tianji fought, the uglier and more serious his face became. He was sure that Xian Yanqing was on the same level as him. As for the other heavenly human tribe members, they were all dumbfounded. Their hearts were in turmoil and they couldn't believe it. They really couldn't believe it. This was Yi Chu Tianji, one of the strongest young geniuses of the heavenly human tribe. It was also in this era that the heavenly human tribe had only produced two such geniuses. In the past, geniuses of this level who could control three supreme heavenly powers were extremely rare. Usually, it would take many eras for one to appear. Once they appeared, they would be someone who could suppress the universe for an era. Such a person was invincible even in the heavenly human tribe. But now, he was blocked by someone, and it was a human. How could there be such a powerful being in the human race? This was a great blow to the self-esteem of the heavenly human tribe who had always thought of themselves as superior. At this moment, the battle between Dandan and Bubbles had stopped. Yi Chu Qianyue and the heavenly daughter were also extremely shocked. They didn't expect that someone could resist Yi Chu Tianji. Dandan, Autumn Moon, and Bubbles came to Lu Ming's side. Soon, Xian Yanqing and Yi Chu Tianji had exchanged more than 100 blows, but there was still no clear winner. Boom! In the end, the two of them retreated after exchanging a blow. Xian Yanqing stepped in the air and retreated to Lu Ming's side. Let's go. Let's enter the ley lines. Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming nodded. Everyone flew toward the ley lines. No one from the heavenly human tribe dared to stop them. They had the advantage in numbers, but only by relying on the Nine Heavens battle formation could they make use of their advantage in numbers. Unfortunately, with Dandan around, their Nine Heavens battle formation was useless. Without the formation, they had no way to deal with Lu Ming's small team. They couldn't make use of their advantage in numbers at all. If they really swarmed, who knew how many of them would die? Chapter 43-96. Yi Chu Tianji's face darkened. He wanted to attack but did not do so in the end. With Xian Yanqing around, he was not confident. Unless he went all out. However, it was not worth it now as it would affect the battle for the origin seed later. If he fell ill now, it would be very disadvantageous for him in the battle for the origin seed. His desire to kill Lu Ming was not as strong as the ordinary heavenly human tribe members. After killing Lu Ming, ordinary heavenly human tribe members could be conferred the title of Son of Heaven or Daughter of Heaven. However, he was already the Son of Heaven and the most powerful one. How could he be conferred a title after killing Lu Ming? At most, he would be rewarded. However, with his status, what kind of reward could he not get? While he was thinking, Lu Ming and the others had already returned to the earth vein. Here, they would be safer with the protection of the 4 big trees. On the earth vein, Yi Ling was also a little stunned. At the same time, he was very shocked. The people around Lu Ming were too terrifying. Each of them was a peerless genius that was rare in the universe. His talent was already considered top-notch, but compared to anyone around Lu Ming, he was overshadowed. I didn't do much today. Lu Ming was also muttering. Today's events were also a little beyond his expectations. Today, he was besieged by so many experts. He only killed some of the burly heavenly human tribe members and did not fight with the heavenly human tribe elites. He did not even fully display his true strength. Several times, he was about to attack but was intercepted by Autumn Moon or Xian Yanqing. My performance today is really a little. I'm living off a woman, Lu Ming muttered in his heart. However, he did not care. The stronger his woman was, the better. Lu Ming, are you okay? Xian Yanqing held Lu Ming's hand and looked at Lu Ming carefully as if she wanted to look at Lu Ming enough. Of course I'm fine. Little Qing, how have you been recently? How did you get recruited by the Grand Supreme Immortal City? Lu Ming also carefully looked at Lu Ming and asked. I'm not too sure either, but I didn't encounter any danger after entering the Grand Supreme Immortal City. Instead, I obtained some fortunate encounters that allowed my cultivation and battle prowess to improve greatly. Xian Yanqing gave him a brief account of what had happened to her. It was probably because Xian Yanqing had entered a few years earlier and had the advantage. He had obtained a large number of pill furnaces and desolate pills, and had also entered several immortal mansions and obtained great fortunes. Regardless of whether it was his cultivation or his battle prowess, both had increased tremendously. Moreover, she had the memories of her previous life's Tang Qing. She had all kinds of secret techniques that were extremely powerful. Ordinary people could not compare to her. That was why she had a 12-star combat power. Io, don't be so mushy. There are still people around. Dandan shouted. That's right. Bubbles chimed in as well. Cough cough. Lu Ming quickly coughed a few times and stole a few glances at Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon maintained her smile and stood beside Lu Ming without saying a word. At this moment, she stepped forward and said to Xian Yanqing, Sister Yanqing, long time no see. Sister Autumn Moon, long time no see. You're getting more and more beautiful. Xian Yanqing also smiled and grabbed Autumn Moon's hand. Lu Ming was delighted. Xian Yanqing had long known about the relationship between Lu Ming and Autumn Moon. It seemed that Xian Yanqing had accepted Autumn Moon. In that case, would he accept others in the future? At this moment, Yi Ling also flew over. Lu Ming introduced the two of them. Brother Lu, at this rate, it'll be difficult to gather 12 billion desolate pills for you. Yi Ling sighed. It doesn't matter. We've gained a lot this time. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He knew in his heart that given the previous alchemy furnaces, it was impossible to gather 12 billion primordial pills by the time the deadline of 50 years was up. There were not enough cauldrons for refining pills. However, this trip to the Five Elements Immortal Mountain, coupled with the heavenly human tribe members they had killed before, should be able to obtain some cauldrons. Immediately, they took out the storage rings they had obtained from the heavenly human tribe. Just now, they had killed at least 70 strong heavenly human tribe members who were at the 9th level of the divine god realm and had the battle strength of 5 or 6 stars. These people were not weak, so they should be able to gain a lot. After counting, it was indeed a great harvest. On average, each person had more than a dozen cauldrons. In total, there were about 1,000 cauldrons. In addition to the experts they had killed in the Five Elements Immortal Mountain, the number of cauldrons added up. That's enough. Lu Ming's face lit up with joy. There were still nearly 9 years before the 50-year deadline. The alchemy cauldrons in his hands were enough to help Lu Ming gather 12 billion primordial pills in the next 9 years. I still have about 1,000 cauldrons. I'll give them all to you. At this moment, Xian Yanqing said and waved her hand. A large number of cauldrons flew out. There were really 1,000 cauldrons. Most of them were 1 meter in diameter. However, there were about 30 cauldrons that were 3 meters in diameter. Everyone, including Lu Ming, was dumbfounded. Xian Yanqing alone had over 1,000 cauldrons. She was only one person. This was too terrifying. I just came in a few years earlier, so I got the upper hand. Xian Yanqing explained casually. Even so, Lu Ming and the others took a while to react. Then, they were faced with a new problem. The cauldrons were definitely enough. However, the desolate qi in the earth vein was not enough. The desolate qi in the earth vein should be enough to refine 10 billion desolate pills. Obviously, it was not enough. With so many cauldrons, it would be refined in less than 9 years. There are many high-grade earth veins in this hidden area. The desolate qi is extremely rich. Let's split up and bring a batch of cauldrons to the other earth veins to refine pills. Lu Ming said. Good idea. Let's go immediately. Bubbles exclaimed. There's no hurry. Yi Chu Tianji and the others are still in this astral palace. It's not good for us to go out. We can wait for a while. Yi Chu Tianji and the others will not stay for long. They will go to the other astral palaces to look for opportunities. Lu Ming said. Everyone nodded. Then, they worked together and activated the cauldrons to refine pills. Right now, everyone had over 3,000 pill furnaces in their hands. Activating them all at once was way too horrifying. It was as though there was a gigantic black hole that was sucking in all the desolate qi in the surroundings into the pill furnaces. Half a day later, countless primordial pills flew out of the elixir cauldron. They were densely packed and there was no telling how many of them there were. Lu Ming used his taboo power to guide them and put them all into his storage ring. Then, they continued. Just like that, they stayed in the earth vein for a year. As they refined pills crazily, the desolate qi in the earth vein decreased at a speed visible to the naked eye. At this rate, the desolate qi in the earth vein would be exhausted in a few years. Chapter 4397. At this moment, Lu Ming and the others set off. Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, and Dandan left the earth vein. The three of them took away more than 1,000 pill furnaces. Autumn Moon, Bubbles, and Yi Ling continued to refine pills. Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, and Dandan left the earth vein and headed north. There was a high-grade earth vein there that contained extremely dense desolate qi. It was probably half as dense as the one they had previously occupied. Naturally, they could not let it go. Soon, they arrived at the earth vein. Along the way, they heard that Yi Chu Tianji and the other sons of heaven had indeed left the Star Palace. This made Lu Ming and the others feel relieved. From afar, the desolate qi in this earth vein was extremely dense. It should be able to refine another 3 to 4 billion desolate pills. Without hesitation, the three of them charged into the earth vein. However, as soon as the three of them got close to the earth vein, they were discovered by the heavenly human tribe. It's Mu Yun. It's them. Oh no, set up the 9 heavens battle formation. The heavenly human tribe in the earth vein roared. 2 groups of people quickly gathered and set up the 9 heavens battle formation. There were more than 200 people in the 2 groups. Among them, there were many 9th-level divine gods. The 9 heavens battle formation was also very powerful. However, Lu Ming and the others had Dandan. They had brought Dandan with them to deal with the 9 heavens battle formation. Lu Ming had brought Xian Yinqing and Dandan with a purpose. In terms of battle strength, Xian Yinqing was the highest. It was enough to bring Xian Yinqing along. They brought Dandan with them to break the 9 heavens battle formation of the heavenly human tribe. This combination was almost perfect. As expected, Dandan attacked. Dense runes spread out and quickly broke the 9 heavens battle formation of the heavenly human tribe. Then, Xian Yinqing and Lu Ming rushed over. In fact, Xian Yinqing alone was enough to deal with them. With a wave of her hand, black lotus flowers appeared one after another. The petals of the lotus flowers were sharper than the sharpest divine weapons. They tore through the air and shot toward the celestial race. In an instant, dozens of heavenly humans were killed. Let's go. Run. The remaining members of the heavenly human tribe panicked, including the 2 prodigies of the heavenly human tribe who possessed 9-star battle prowess. Their faces were filled with horror as they fled into the distance. You won't be able to leave. All of you, stay here. Heavenly Demon Domain. Xian Yinqing's cold voice rang out. A special domain spread out, instantly enveloping the entire earth vein, including the heavenly humans. In the heavenly demon domain, the heavenly human tribe members would be greatly suppressed. At the same time, countless sharp lotus petals danced in the sky within the heavenly demon territory. Puff! Puff! The heavenly human tribe members were killed one by one. Even the 2 prodigies of the heavenly human tribe who possessed 9-star battle prowess were no match for Xian Yinqing. In an instant, hundreds of heavenly human tribe members were killed. I haven't even made a move yet. Lu Ming muttered. Xian Yinqing was too fast. Before Lu Ming could make a move, all the heavenly human tribe members had been killed. He had reached the 9th layer of the Great God Realm and possessed 12-star battle prowess. He was so powerful that he was almost invincible among the Great God Realm. Unless Lu Ming broke through to the 9th layer of the Great God Realm, he would be able to suppress Xian Yinqing. To put it bluntly, an ordinary cultivator of the 1st layer of the Great God Realm would have to avoid such a battle prowess. The gap between the Great God Realm and the Great God Realm was even bigger and harder to cross. However, it was not impossible to cross it. A top prodigy of the 9th layer of the Great God Realm with 9-star battle prowess could definitely contend with an ordinary 1st layer of the Great God Realm. With Xian Yinqing's battle prowess, it would be easy for him to suppress an ordinary 1st layer of the Great God Realm. After killing the heavenly human tribe members, Dandan set up a formation and summoned flames to burn the corpses of the heavenly human tribe members. Of course, the storage rings were all in their hands. However, they scanned the storage rings and found no pill furnaces. There were only a few desolate pills. The pill furnaces should be in the earth vein. Let's go in and take a look, Lu Ming said. The three of them entered the earth vein and found a few hundred pill furnaces in two different places. It was obvious that the heavenly human tribe members were refining pills. When they found Lu Ming and the others, they did not put away their pill furnaces. This benefited Lu Ming and the others. They now had a few hundred more pill furnaces. Dandan, you set up the formation. We'll refine the pills, Lu Ming said. Don't worry. Leave it to me. With that, Dandan disappeared and began setting up a formation around the earth vein. There were no trees to protect this place. They were afraid that the heavenly human tribe would counterattack, so they needed Dandan to set up a formation. As long as Dandan had enough time, he would be able to set up a powerful formation. If the heavenly human tribe dared to attack, they would definitely suffer. Meanwhile, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing activated their pill furnaces and started refining pills. It was safer to refine pills with 2 earth veins. They would definitely be able to gather 12 billion desolate pills, and there would be more. However, the more desolate pills the better. Whether it was Autumn Moon, Bubbles, or Yiling, they all needed desolate pills to strengthen their cultivation. However, Xian Yanqing and Dandan did not need desolate pills. Xian Yanqing had absorbed far more desolate pills than he needed. His cultivation was already extremely stable. As for Dandan, because he had absorbed a drop of 5 elements fairy tear, he was already too strong. He did not need desolate pills. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, another year had passed. During this year, the heavenly human tribe did not attack. Perhaps it was because they did not know that Lu Ming and the others had occupied this earth vein, or there were other reasons. Of course, this was better. Dandan spent a year to set up a powerful formation around the earth vein, turning this place into a dangerous place. Lu Ming also had more and more primordial pills in his hands. At this time, there were still 7 years before the 50-year deadline. Soon, another 4 years had passed. There were still 3 years before the 50-year deadline. At this time, Lu Ming had gathered the 12 billion desolate pills he needed. At this time, Lu Ming returned to the earth vein and started refining desolate pills to break through. It would definitely take a long time to break through to the 9th level of the Divine God realm. After all, he had to refine the 12 billion desolate pills. Even though Lu Ming was refining desolate pills very quickly, it would still take a long time to refine the 12 billion desolate pills. This time, Lu Ming used 2 months to refine all the 12 billion desolate pills. Then, he started to break through to the next level. With enough desolate pills, breaking through to the next level was a matter of course. Soon, Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed. So powerful. The aura of a 9th level Divine God realm is even more terrifying than many Divine Masters. Yiling sighed. Brother Lu Ming is of course the most powerful. Now that he has broken through to the 9th level of the Divine God realm, no one in the Divine God realm will be a match for him. Bubbles said. I believe that. Yiling nodded. Chapter 4398. Yiling nodded seriously. The more he interacted with Lu Ming, the more he felt that Lu Ming was powerful and unfathomable. After a while, Lu Ming's aura finally stabilized and he opened his eyes. I've finally reached the 9th layer of the Divine God realm. Now, I'm not afraid of anyone in the Divine God realm. Yi Chu Tianji, I hope to fight with you. Lu Ming's eyes shone with confidence. Before his breakthrough, he was indeed far from being Yi Chu Tianji's match. If they fought, he would be easily suppressed. However, it was different now. After breaking through from the 8th layer of the Divine God Realm to the 9th layer of the Divine God Realm, his battle strength had increased by 3 stars. It was enough to suppress Yi Chu Tianji. There are still 3 years before the battle for the origin seed. Let's stabilize our cultivation in these 3 years. Lu Ming muttered. After that, Lu Ming and the others continued to refine the desolation pills in the 2 earth veins. When they were free, they would also cultivate, hoping to become the strongest in order to prepare for the battle for the origin seed. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Soon, it had been 50 years since they entered the Taishang Immortal City. At this time, everyone had refined all the desolation pills they had on them. This was because they could not bring the desolation pills out. If they did not refine them, they would only be wasted. At this time, everyone stopped refining pills and cultivating. Those who were wandering in the Immortal Abode all left the Immortal Abode to wait for the next battle for the origin seed. The origin seed was very important. It was related to the cultivation of the Divine Master Realm. With the origin seed, the cultivation of the Divine Master Realm would be much smoother. It would be as if they had a direction and would not take any detours. Of course, the most important thing about the origin seed was the origin realm. With the origin seed, the chances of breaking through to the origin realm would greatly increase. This was the most important thing. The origin realm was called Origin Venerables. In the Heavenly Palace, they were called Heavenly Venerables. Among the primordial divine spirits, they were called primary gods. This was the true peak power of the universe. It was incomparably powerful and could destroy galaxies. Origin realm existences were not only powerful, but their lifespans were also extremely long. They could exist as long as the universe. The lifespan of an origin realm expert was as long as the universe had a lifespan. The origin realm was basically the ultimate goal of all cultivators in the primitive universe. It was also the peak of the second step of cultivation, the God state. However, the origin energy seed was related to the origin realm. Who would not be tempted? Even if they did not break through to reciprocity in the future, just being able to cultivate a little more smoothly at the Divine Lord realm was enough to tempt countless people. Above the ley line, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, Dandan, Bubbles, and Yi Ling stood side by side, waiting for the 50-year period to come. Wang! Wang! Buzz! Suddenly, the sky trembled, and small vortexes appeared. Then, a flight of stairs extended out from these small vortexes. A flight of stairs extended from one of the vortexes all the way to Lu Ming. Not only Lu Ming, but Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, and the others also had a staircase in front of them. Each of them had a flight of stairs that extended to their eyes. It was not just Lu Ming and the others. Everyone who entered the Zenith Supreme Immortal City, regardless of which of the 36-star palaces or the first, second, or third floor of the Zenith Supreme Immortal City, had a flight of stairs in front of them. It had begun. Lu Ming and the others knew that the battle for the origin energy seed had begun. Lu Ming had read the information given by Fei Huang and knew that they had to first step on this flight of stairs and pass a test. Only those who passed the test had the right to compete for the origin energy seed. They had to compete for the opportunity to condense the origin energy seed. "Let's go," Lu Ming said. After saying that, he stepped onto the flight of stairs. The moment he stepped onto the flight of stairs, an invisible force enveloped Lu Ming. This force constantly permeated as if it wanted to see through Lu Ming. Then, a large number of items flew out from Lu Ming's storage ring. There were weapons and pill furnaces from the Zenith Supreme Immortal City. All the weapons and pill furnaces flew out and turned into rays of light that flew into the distance and disappeared between heaven and earth. It was the same for Xian Yanqing and the others. As soon as they stepped onto the flight of stairs, the weapons and pill furnaces they obtained from the Zenith Supreme Immortal City flew away. Luckily, the 5 elemental immortal tears are still here. Lu Ming showed a hint of joy. As expected, the 5 elemental immortal tears would not fly away and could be brought out. In fact, apart from the 5 elemental immortal tears, there were also a few things that could be brought out, such as the metal materials obtained from the Zenith Supreme Immortal City. However, the metal materials in the Zenith Supreme Immortal City were very rare, and not many people obtained them. Lu Ming did not stop and continued to step forward. In the end, he entered the vortex and disappeared. After entering the vortex, Lu Ming seemed to have entered another space. Around him, the void was gray and it was difficult to tell the direction. Under Lu Ming's feet was a path made of bluestone that led to the front. Lu Ming walked along the bluestone path and kept moving forward. Not long after, a door blocked Lu Ming's path. It was a light door that blocked Lu Ming's path. "Is this the trial?" Lu Ming murmured. At this moment, a voice suddenly rang in Lu Ming's ears. "Those who break through the door can take part in the battle for the origin seed. Those who fail will be sent out of the Zenith Supreme Immortal City." The voice sounded old, like an old man in his twilight years. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Are there still living creatures in the Zenith Supreme Immortal City? I don't think so, maybe they're just weapon spirits or formation spirits. Lu Ming's mind was racing and his imagination was running wild. However, it was similar to what he had guessed. The light door was some kind of trial. Only those who passed it had the right to take part in the battle for the origin seed. It made sense. There must be a selection process. Otherwise, there would be too many people. This time, there were hundreds of millions of people from the entire universe who entered the Zenith Supreme Immortal City. Among them, there were only a small number of divine masters. Most of them were divine emperors, or divine lords. Among them, the number of divine emperors and divine lords was the largest. However, the number of divine emperors was also very shocking. There were at least a few million people in the 36-star palaces, or even more. If they didn't filter out a batch, it would take a long time. Boom! Lu Ming attacked and threw a punch at the light door. With a loud bang, the light door exploded and dissipated into energy. So simple? Lu Ming was slightly taken aback. He didn't even use much strength in the punch just now and the light door was blasted open. It was even simpler than he had imagined. Maybe my combat strength is too strong, haha. Lu Ming laughed out loud and then strode over. When he stepped over the light door, the space changed again and he appeared in another place. Lu Ming looked around. Lu Ming found that he was standing on a lotus. Yes, it was a lotus, a white lotus. The diameter of the lotus was about 1 meter. Chapter 4399. Lu Ming discovered that he was standing on a white lotus flower with a diameter of 1 meter. This lotus flower was suspended in the air. Moreover, Lu Ming discovered that there were many such lotus flowers all around him. There were many lotuses floating in the air and there was a figure on each of them. Xiaoqing, Autumn Moon, Dandan, Bubbles. Lu Ming quickly looked around and saw Xianyanqing, Autumn Moon, Dandan, Bubbles and the others not far from him. At the same time, he also saw many strong cultivators from the heavenly human tribe, such as Yi Chu Tianji, Yi Chu Qianyue, Yi Chu Haohan and the others. These people were also standing on a white lotus flower, looking around. Very soon, their gazes landed on Lu Ming, emitting cold murderous intent. It's him, Mu Yun. It's Mu Yun, no, it should be Lu Ming, he's Lu Ming. That's right, I also heard that Mu Yun is Lu Ming and Lu Ming is Mu Yun. In an instant, at least a few thousand people looked at Lu Ming. Their eyes were as sharp as swords, as if they wanted to pierce through Lu Ming. Back when they were at the Five Elements Immortal Mountain, Lu Ming's identity as Mu Yun had already been exposed by Yi Chu Qianyue. Now that the news had spread, most people knew Lu Ming's true identity. Mu Yun, no, that damned Lu Ming. Someone in the crowd bellowed. His hatred for Lu Ming was extremely strong. That person was Gabbert. At that moment, Gabbert's aura was extremely powerful. His body was covered by a white holy light and his aura was extremely strong. He had reached the 9th layer of the divine god realm. As if he had sensed something, Lu Ming looked at Gabbert. Gabbert has broken through to the 9th great supreme god layer. It seems like he's had a great adventure recently. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Their gazes collided in the air, as if sparks were about to fly. Lu Ming, I will kill you. Gabbert roared in his heart, and the killing intent in his eyes intensified. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He had the same thoughts as Gabbert. However, Lu Ming's gaze didn't stay on Gabbert for too long, because he was attracted by the other people. That is, Dark Knight Rose, Di Jianyi and Yin Jiuling. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he saw some familiar faces. It was Dark Knight Rose, Di Jianyi, Yin Jiuling and the others. At this moment, Dark Knight Rose and the others' strength had also become extremely terrifying. Their auras were vigorous and unfathomable. Dark Knight Rose looked at Lu Ming with a faint smile. Di Jianyi looked at Lu Ming, his battle intent surged and his sword intent soared. Yin Jiuling looked at Lu Ming with strong killing intent. The real Yin Jiuling had already been possessed by the baleful Yin Qi. At this moment, Yin Jiuling had become extremely terrifying. He also clearly remembered that he had fought with Lu Ming previously. When Yin Jiuling was possessed by the baleful Yin Qi, he had entered the dark pit in the dark pit demon mountain. No one knew what he had obtained, but it gave people a terrifying feeling. One should know that the Dark Pit Demon Mountain was one of the most terrifying forbidden lands in the chaotic universe. Yin Jiuling was definitely not to be underestimated. As for Dark Knight Rose, she had always given Lu Ming an unfathomable feeling. She had established a force that specialized in collecting the top supreme talents in the universe. She wanted to build a force that was comparable to the Heavenly Palace. Her ambition was astonishing. However, when her gaze landed on Xian Yanqing, her body trembled violently, and she revealed a look of shock. Although it was just a flash and she immediately hid it, Lu Ming still caught it. Huh. Dark Knight Rose seems to know Xiaoqing. She seems to be very shocked when she saw Xiaoqing. Lu Ming thought in his heart. At the same time, Xian Yanqing also saw Dark Knight Rose and frowned, revealing a look of contemplation. Xiaoqing, do you know that woman? Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Xian Yanqing. I don't know her, but this person gives me a familiar feeling, Xian Yanqing replied. It seems that Dark Knight Rose is hiding a lot of secrets. Lu Ming thought. Then, Lu Ming looked at the surrounding environment. Is this place already outside the Grand Supreme Immortal City? It seems to be above the Grand Supreme Immortal City, Lu Ming whispered in his heart. This was because he discovered that they were currently inside a huge barrier of light. They were enveloped by a huge barrier of light. Below the barrier of light, they could see a huge city. It was clearly the Grand Supreme Immortal City. Above them, there were many onlookers. Some of these onlookers were Origin Realm experts from the Heavenly Palace and the Heaven Destroyer. Most of them were those who had been eliminated. There were at least a few 100 million of them. Yes, those who had not been selected and had not broken through the door of light had been sent out of the Grand Supreme Immortal City. At this moment, they were standing in the void and could see Lu Ming and the others through the barrier of light. Moreover, Lu Ming also discovered that there were 2 other barriers of light similar to them. There were a total of 3 barriers of light, and there were many people in each of them. One of the barriers of light is for divine masters, the other one is for god emperors, and the other one is for those below the God Emperor realm. Lu Ming made a judgment very easily. The 3 barriers of light hovered above the Grand Supreme Immortal City, enveloping 3 different levels of people. Those outside could see them, but they could not enter. First, the Divine Master Realm competition will begin. There are only 72 spots for the Divine Master Realm. Only those who enter the top 72 will have the chance to connect to the Cosmic Sea and comprehend the origin. The rules are very simple. You will fight in pairs. Of course, everyone will have a few chances. Also, you will not die in this competition, a voice suddenly rang out. Everyone could hear it. Not only could the people inside the barriers hear it, but even those outside could hear it. The rules are indeed similar to what Senior Fei Huang introduced. Lu Ming muttered to himself. Soon, the Divine Master Realm competition began. The 2 of them fought against each other. Lu Ming and the others watched seriously. Firstly, they could familiarize themselves with the rules. Secondly, watching the Divine Master Realm experts fight was very helpful to them. They could get some inspiration. One had to know that most of them were at the 9th level of the Divine Master Realm. The next step was the Divine Master Realm. It was naturally beneficial to watch first. The battle between the Divine Master Realm experts was incomparably intense. However, they would not die because the lotus under their feet had a mysterious effect. Even if they were killed, they could revive on the lotus. This made the battle even more intense. They could attack without restraint. They were not afraid of being killed. After all, they could revive. There were at least thousands of Divine Master Realm existences, but there were only 72 spots. The competition was extremely fierce. Even among the same race, there was no mercy. They fought with all their strength. Of course, the most intense battle was between the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace. Once they met, it would be a life-and-death battle. Among them, Lu Ming saw many people at the level of the Lord of Heaven fight. It was really an eye-opener. He benefited a lot. Seeing that someone asked about Ling Yue, the story between Ling Yue and Lu Ming had not ended. In addition, the story between Mulan's, Huang Ling, and Lu Ming had not ended. Chapter 4400. The Battle of the Divine Masters lasted for several months before it finally came to an end. In the end, the 72 strongest Divine Masters flew into the sky on lotus flowers. They were still sitting cross-legged on the lotus flowers, but there was a layer of light shield around them. At the same time, a beam of light rose from their bodies, rushed into the eternal void, and disappeared. Was this the connection to the Cosmic Sea? Many people wondered. Only those defeated Divine Masters were disqualified. They were teleported out one by one and became spectators outside. The top 3 are all from the Heavenly Human Tribe. The Heavenly Human Tribe is too strong. Is there no one who can compete with them? Lu Ming heard many people discussing. They were all from the Heaven Exterminating Army. In the battle of the Divine Masters just now, the top 3 were occupied by the Heavenly Human Tribe. On the Heaven Destroyer side, the strongest Divine Master only occupied the 4th place. Moreover, most of the 72 people who were qualified to connect to the Cosmic Sea were from the Heavenly Human Tribe. On the Heaven Destroyer side, there were less than 20 people. The gap was too big. This made the Heaven Destroyer's people somewhat disappointed. Humph, a mere traitor wants to compete with the Heavenly Human Tribe? You're overestimating yourselves. You're just a mantis trying to stop a chariot. We have countless geniuses. How can you compare to us? The Heavenly Human Tribe couldn't help but mock. Suddenly, the Heaven Destroyer's people were angry. The Heavenly Human Tribe is invincible? How ridiculous! How were the 4 Heavenly Palace destroyed? Since we can destroy the 4 Heavenly Palace, we can destroy all of you. It's just a matter of time. The Heaven Destroyer's people retorted. At the peak of the Heavenly Palace, there were a total of 9 heavenly palaces. Now, there were only 5 left. 4 of them had been destroyed after a long period of time. The heavenly human tribe had always regarded this matter as a disgrace. Now that it was mentioned, the heavenly human tribe was furious. "You traitors, you're courting death." The heavenly human tribe's people roared. "Ha, come and bite me if you dare." The Heaven Destroyer's people were fearless. On this lotus, no one could attack each other. Only when the competition started and it was their turn would they be able to exchange blows. Now, celestial emperors, let the competition begin. The rules of the competition are the same as those in the God-Lord realm. It's a 2-on-1 duel, and the winner's lotus root will be raised by 1 zhang. The loser's lotus root will fall by 1 zhang. At this moment, the old voice rang out once more. It was the same voice that had announced the start of the Divine Lord Realm competition. Lu Ming could tell that this was the same voice that reminded him to attack the light door. When this voice rang out, the crowd immediately quieted down. At the same time, a huge circular platform appeared between them. This round platform was the battle stage. It was incomparably tough, and no matter how strong the attack was, it wouldn't be able to shatter it. This was something that had already been verified by the Divine Master before. Even the top Divine Masters couldn't shatter this battle stage. There are a total of 36,000 of you. In the end, there will only be 130 places. Only the strongest 130 people will have the chance to connect to the cosmic sea. The competition will be random. 2 people will fight at random. The winner's lotus root will rise by 1 zhang, and the loser's lotus root will fall by 1 zhang. When the lotus root reaches 0, you will be eliminated. With the protection of this lotus, those who are killed won't really die. They can be resurrected, but their vitality will be depleted. They can also admit defeat directly. The old voice continued to ring out. Although he had already introduced the rules when he was in the God-Lord realm, he had to reintroduce them now. It seems that everyone has 3 chances. Lu Ming pondered. This was because the lotus root was only 3 zhang tall, and its roots were embedded in the void. Every time one lost, the root would fall by 1 zhang. After losing 3 times, the root would fall to 0, and the contestant would be eliminated. Lu Ming knew this rule very well. It was for the sake of fairness. Because the 2 sides of the battle were random, some unlucky people might encounter a strong opponent at the beginning and lose. This way, they still had a chance. Even if the root fell by 1 zhang, they still had a chance to turn the tables and climb up by defeating others. Of course, if they encountered a very strong opponent 3 times in a row, there was no other way. Being unlucky was also a reflection of not being strong enough. There were only 130 places. Many people's eyes lit up. They secretly swore to fight for a place. Now, the competition begins. The old voice rang out. As soon as the voice fell, 2 of the lotuses moved and flew toward the circular battle stage. They flew to the edge of the battle stage. Needless to say, the 2 of them were going to compete. Swoosh! Their gazes collided, and there seemed to be sparks. A strong killing intent spread out. One of them was from the Heaven Destroyer, and the other was from the Heavenly Human Tribe. What a coincidence! The Heavenly Human Tribe and the Heaven Destroyer met in the first round. Both of them were in the prime of their lives. They were not from the younger generation. There were a total of 36,000 people who passed the assessment. Naturally, not all of them were from the younger generation. Among them, most of them were from the prime of their lives. Swoosh! The 2 of them moved and jumped onto the battle stage. As soon as they jumped onto the battle stage, the 2 of them charged at each other and clashed. Boom! In an instant, the 2 of them exchanged a blow. In just one blow, the winner was decided. The brawny man from the Heaven Destroyer trembled violently and retreated. He spat out blood from his mouth. He lost. The difference in their battle prowess is too great. Lu Ming shook his head. Although both of them were in the 9th layer of the divine god realm, the brawny man from the heavenly human tribe was obviously much stronger. He had a 5-star battle prowess. On the other hand, the brawny man from the Heaven Destroyer only had a 3-star battle prowess. With a difference of 2 stars, it was completely one-sided. Kill. The brawny man from the heavenly human tribe injured his opponent with one blow. Then, he continued to attack his opponent like a torrential storm. The brawny man from the Heaven Destroyer tried his best to block the attacks, but it was useless. After a few blows, he was seriously injured and could no longer fight. Traitor, although I can't kill you here, it'll be harder for me to kill you than to kill you. The brawny man from the heavenly human tribe rushed toward the brawny man from the Heaven Destroyer. He grabbed his opponent's leg, swung him up, and smashed him on the ground. With a bang, the brawny man from the Heaven Destroyer had many bones broken. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood, and his entire body was deformed. He looked extremely miserable. However, he was not dead. The brawny man from the heavenly human tribe had done this on purpose. He had controlled his strength very well. He only wanted to torture his opponent. He would not kill him so easily. All right. Let's continue. Let these traitors know how powerful we are. Huh, this is so fun. On the field, the people from the heavenly human tribe laughed. As for the people from the other races in the universe, they did not interrupt and remained silent. Chapter 44:01. However, the people on Heaven Destroyer's side were infuriated. Damn it! I'd rather die than be humiliated. Heavenly human tribe, don't let me meet them. Otherwise, I'll make them regret it. The people on Heaven Destroyer's side roared angrily. Both sides glared at each other. The smell of gunpowder was intense. However, the burly man from the heavenly human tribe's face became even more ferocious. He sneered and said, "A bunch of lowly things can't be humiliated. How ridiculous. Kneel." After saying that, he pressed down with his hand. A powerful force burst out and formed a rope-like force that tied up the man from Heaven Destroyer. Under the rope-like force, the burly man from Heaven Destroyer knelt on the ground. Ah! The burly man from Heaven Destroyer looked up to the sky and roared. He was extremely humiliated. His eyes were full of shame and anger. What are you screaming for? Get lost, lowly thing. The strong man from the heavenly human tribe kicked the man from the heaven exterminating troop out of the fighting ring. When he flew out of the fighting ring, his lotus automatically flew over and caught him. Then, it flew back to its original position. However, the roots of the lotus began to shrink rapidly. From 3 zhang tall, they had shrunk to 2 zhang tall. The celestial race man took a step forward and returned to his lotus flower. His lotus flower also flew back. However, the root of the lotus flower rose from 3 feet to 4 feet tall. It rose by 1 foot. Damn it! The people on Heaven Destroyer's side roared angrily. They were extremely displeased. Losing a battle was not a big deal. The main thing was that the people from the heavenly human tribe had gone too far. On the other hand, the people from the heavenly human tribe sneered with disdain. The first battle had already caused the tension between Heaven Destroyer and the heavenly human tribe to be very high. At this time, 2 more lotus flowers flew toward the fighting ring and approached it. This time, the 2 contestants were not from Heaven Destroyer or the heavenly human tribe. Instead, they were from 2 major tribes in the primitive universe. The combat power of the 2 contestants was about the same. After a few hundred fierce moves, one of them finally won by a slight advantage. The winner's lotus root would be raised by 10 feet while the loser's lotus root would be lowered by 10 feet. Then, 2 more people went up. Just like that, the 2-on-2 battles continued. Some of them had a huge difference in strength, and victory and defeat were quickly decided. However, there were also some who had similar strength, and it would take a long time for victory and defeat to be decided. Moreover, some people were killed on the battle stage. However, once someone was killed, their flesh and blood would fly back to the lotus and revive. It was just that a large amount of essence energy was consumed. Seeing the others come back to life with their own eyes made everyone feel reassured. The battle that followed became even more intense. It was a battle of life and death. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. It seems like you can pass the exam if you have the strength of the 9th Great Supreme God layer. After a few days of observation, Lu Ming realized that the weakest of the 36,000 people who had passed the selection had the strength of the 9th Great Supreme God layer. Take note, it's combat prowess that reaches a certain level, not a certain level of cultivation. As long as your battle prowess reaches the 9th Great Supreme God layer, you can pass the selection. Therefore, not all of those 36,000 people had the strength of the 9th Great Supreme God layer. Many of them had the strength of the 8th, 7th, or 6th Great Supreme God layer, and they had the strength of the 9th Great Supreme God layer. 36,000 people would compete in pairs. It would take quite some time for all of them to be done. Time passed day by day. Soon, half a month had passed. During this period, Autumn Moon, Xian Yanqing, Dandan, Bubbles and the others all fought. They didn't encounter any strong opponents, and they didn't encounter any heavenly human tribe members either. They won easily. Their lotus roots had all reached a height of 12 meters. Lu Ming also saw Dark Knight Rose, Di Jiani, Yin Jiuling and the others fight. They defeated their opponents in one move, which gave people a feeling that they were unfathomable. These people are getting stronger and stronger. If they don't use their full strength, it's hard to tell their real battle prowess. Lu Ming thought. As for the sons and daughters of heaven from the heavenly palace, their opponents admitted defeat immediately. Because they knew they would lose without a fight. Why not save some strength for themselves? At this moment, 2 more people went up. Gabbert. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. This was because one of them was Gabe. The other person was a young man. He was tall and sturdy, and his body emitted an ancient aura. He was a genius from the Heaven Destroyer, a descendant of the primordial divine spirit. The aura he gave off was the aura of the primordial divine spirit. You're Gabbert. I know you. You're a genius on the universe genius list. The descendant of the primordial divine spirit from the Heaven Destroyer said. Since you know my name, why don't you admit defeat? Gabbert said coldly. He was full of confidence. Admit defeat? Ha ha ha, although Gabbert is a genius on the universe genius list, you're at the bottom. In my eyes, you're nothing. The descendant of the primordial divine spirit laughed contemptuously. The people from the Heaven Destroyer were also very disgusted with the angels. Because the angels were completely the lackeys of the heavenly human tribe. Over the years, the angels had hunted down many Heaven Destroyer. You're courting death. Being looked down upon, Gabbert's eyes flashed with cruel murderous intent. Then, a powerful aura burst out from his body, and 12 angel wings stretched out from his back. Why are his angel wings golden? Exclamations came from the scene. Even Lu Ming's eyes flashed a few times, revealing a look of surprise. This was because the wings of the angels were almost all pure white. In the legends, there were fallen angels who had pitch-black wings. However, there were very few golden angel wings. There was only one situation that would appear, and that was the Angel King. Oh my God, those are the Angel King wings. Has Gabbert's bloodline turned into the Angel King bloodline? Is it really the Angel King? Many people were discussing, especially those from the top 10 races. They were all famous races, so they naturally knew each other better. The Angel King bloodline was the legendary bloodline of the angels. It was known as the strongest bloodline of the angels. Gabbert had evolved into the Angel King bloodline. It's the royal bloodline. It's really the royal bloodline. How did Gabbert succeed? Some people spoke, their voices were filled with disbelief. These were the other geniuses of the angels. Among the angels, the geniuses who were as famous as Gabbert or even more famous than Gabbert were the most shocked. As an angel, they could naturally tell at a glance that it was the Angel King bloodline. The reason for that was because they felt an enormous amount of pressure and fear from that oppressive might. That was the fear of a superior being. Ha ha ha, good. Outside, the elders of the angels laughed loudly. These were the divine masters of the angels. They had all retreated outside after losing the competition. At this moment, they were extremely excited. Chapter 4402. The godly lords of the angel race were extremely excited, while the godly lords of the other top 10 races looked gloomy. The reason for that was because this was not a good thing for them. Once the angel royal bloodline reached its peak, its strength would be extremely terrifying. Moreover, the angel royal bloodline had limitless potential, and it would have a chance to reach the origin realm in the future. Once the angel race had one more origin realm existence, their strength would increase greatly, and it would be easy for them to suppress the other top 10 races. Other than the quasi-saint race, no other race could compare to the angel race. This Gilbert, to think that he has such potential, the geniuses on the universe prodigy list looked very solemn. Even the top 10 geniuses were the same. The angel royal bloodline was enough to threaten everyone on the universe prodigy list, including the terrifying existences at the top of the list. The people outside the arena had different feelings. On the battle platform, the descendant of the primordial divine spirit narrowed his eyes, and he looked extremely solemn. Boom! He also unleashed a powerful aura, and his body quickly enlarged, turning into a giant beast. This was the form of the primordial divine spirit. Transforming into the form of the primordial divine spirit was the most powerful battle form of the descendant of the primordial divine spirit. Lose! The descendant of the primordial divine spirit roared and pounced on Gabbert. He grabbed at Gabbert with his sharp claws, wanting to tear Gabbert to pieces. The void vibrated, emitting a terrifying fluctuation. 7-star battle strength. Many people were shocked. As soon as the descendant of the primordial divine spirit attacked, some powerful people could sense that the descendant of the primordial divine spirit's battle strength had reached 7 stars. Of course, his cultivation was also at the 9th level of the divine emperor realm. This battle strength was absolutely powerful, and he could indeed look down on Gabbert, who was ranked at the bottom of the universe prodigy list. However, he did not expect Gabbert to evolve into an angel royal bloodline. Schwa! At this moment, Gabbert moved. His body was enveloped in golden holy light. He rushed out as if his entire body had turned into a golden sword, slashing at the descendant of the primordial divine spirit. Puff! A clear sound spread in the air. The attack of the descendant of the primitive godly spirit was broken in an instant. The gigantic body stiffened, and a golden sword light flashed. Gabbert's body reappeared on the other side of the battle stage. Primordial divine spirit's descendant of the primordial divine spirit's forehead. And the blood became bigger and bigger, until it covered his entire body. How? How is this possible? Said the descendant of the primordial god spirit. His voice was filled with disbelief. Then, with a thump, his body was split in half and he collapsed onto the fighting platform. In's descendant of the primordial divine spirit's attack. Many people sucked in a breath of cold air, especially the geniuses who had competed with Jiabot before. They were even more shocked. He had killed a descendant of the primordial godly spirit with the power of 7 stars in one strike. What kind of power was that? 8 or 9 stars? 9 pro combat battle. But everyone had the same opinion, which was that Gabbert had an unimaginable adventure in the Taishang celestial city. Otherwise, he would not have been able to improve so much. It was not because of the improvement of his cultivation, but because his battle strength had increased tremendously. Normally, if one's cultivation improved quickly, their battle strength would decrease, and it would be even more difficult to improve. However, Gabbert's cultivation had not only increased to the 9th level of the Great Supreme God realm, but his battle strength had also increased tremendously. It was really incredible. Swoosh! Swoosh! The descendant of the primordial divine spirit's flesh and blood turned into rays of light, flying towards the lotus. Then, the descendant of the primordial divine spirit's body reappeared on the lotus. He had come back to life. However, there was still fear in his eyes. If it had been somewhere else, he would have been killed. Although he had come back to life, the fear was still there. He was scared of Gabbert. At this moment, Gabbert looked at Lu Ming. Mu Yun, no, I should call you Lu Ming. Gabbert's voice was cold and disdainful. He continued, back then, in the elf tribe, didn't you want to challenge me? Didn't you want to make a 1,000-year promise with me? I hope you won't be eliminated so early. If you meet me later, I will let you die first. At this moment, Gabbert was full of confidence, as if he could kill Lu Ming easily. Gabbert, you loser, have you forgotten that I broke your wings and you escaped so quickly? Lu Ming mocked. Gabbert's face turned cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Recalling what had happened last time, he was filled with killing intent towards Lu Ming. Breaking his wings was a great humiliation for the angel tribe. It was a stain in his life. He swore that he would definitely kill Lu Ming in the future. Otherwise, it would be difficult to wash away his shame. Back then, I was careless, but this time, I will kill you with one hand. Said Gabbert coldly. It wasn't that he was overconfident, it was just that he was completely confident. Because Lu Ming's cultivation level was only that of the 8th Great Supreme God layer. Indeed, everyone could see that Lu Ming's cultivation level was only that of the 8th Great Supreme God layer. Because Lu Ming had used the Great Imitation technique to imitate the Qi of the 8th Great Supreme God layer. The Great Imitation technique was ranked 3rd among the 3,000 ancient secret skills. It was really mysterious. Not only could it imitate other people's Qi, but it could also imitate their cultivation level. Almost no one could see through it. Even an almighty would not be able to tell Lu Ming's exact cultivation level. Facing Lu Ming, who only had the strength of the 8th Great Supreme God layer, Gabbert was extremely confident that he could easily kill Lu Ming. Many people looked at Lu Ming. Now, they all knew that Lu Ming was Mu Yun. Many people had heard that Mu Yun and Gabbert had made a promise of 1,000 years because of the elf princess. It'll be interesting if those two fight. Many people had the same thought. I also hope that I can meet you. I don't mind breaking your wings again. Said Lu Ming coldly. It's useless to show off. Try your best to survive. Gilbert said coldly. He took a step forward and returned to the top of the lotus. His lotus had risen by 1 zhang, reaching a height of 4 zhang. At that moment, 2 more lotuses flew towards the fighting stage. One of them was Lu Ming. Finally, it's my turn. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. It's Lu Ming's turn. Let's see how strong he is. Lu Ming has a forbidden body. He's definitely not weak. I think he's at least 10 stars. Is a forbidden body really that strong? It shouldn't be weak. But it's very difficult to reach 11 stars. Some people were discussing spiritedly. No, he's probably really at 11 stars. We can't be careless," said a genius from the heavenly human clan. It was Yi Chu Qianyue. Chapter 4403. Everyone's hearts trembled as they looked to Yi Chu Qianyue. Yi Chu Qianyue was a son of heaven. A son of heaven had spoken in person. This was no small matter. Did Yi Chu Qianyue fight with Lu Ming? Is Lu Ming's combat ability really that powerful? Many people were shocked. Yelu Shikai, don't underestimate him, Yi Chu Qianyue said. That's right, Lu Ming's opponent this time was also from the heavenly human tribe, a top genius of the heavenly human tribe. The two of them flew to the fighting stage and faced each other. Don't worry, Your Highness, I will defeat him. Yelu Shikai nodded. His eyes were as sharp as a sword as he looked at Lu Ming. Sizzle. Wisps of pure white lightning spread out from his body and covered his entire body. This was the heavenly punishment energy. Since the emperor had spoken, Yelu Shikai didn't dare to underestimate Lu Ming. He used the heavenly punishment energy at the beginning. The heavenly punishment energy around Yelu Shikai's body intertwined and condensed into a goshawk. Different people would have different ways of using the four ultimate heavenly powers, and each person would have a different way of using them. Yelu Shikai's method was different from others. He turned the heavenly punishment energy into a goshawk and covered his whole body. Swoosh! The goshawk flapped its wings and rushed towards Lu Ming. A strong wind blew and the void kept exploding. A violent force pressed towards Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming clenched his fist and a long spear condensed. He thrust the spear forward and collided with the goshawk's sharp claws. There was a violent explosion. The spear and the lightning swept out in all directions. Then, the two figures retreated quickly. This move was evenly matched. What? The pupils of the majority of the people at the scene shrank, revealing expressions of shock. They were shocked by Lu Ming's strength. A moment before, Lu Ming had indeed displayed the strength of the eighth great supreme god layer. However, he had managed to block Yi Lui Shikai's attack with the strength of the eighth great supreme god layer. That was terrifying. This was because everyone could see that Yelu Shikai's battle prowess had reached 9 stars. Lu Ming's cultivation was one level lower than Yelu Shikai's, yet he was able to block Yelu Shikai's attack. Didn't that mean that Lu Ming's battle prowess had reached 12 stars? Hiss, a series of gasps could be heard. 12 stars of battle prowess, this was too terrifying. The 4 heavenly palaces had 9 heavenly princes and heavenly daughters in total. Most of the heavenly daughters only had 11 stars of battle prowess. Didn't that mean that Lu Ming had surpassed most of the heavenly sons and daughters at the same level and was invincible? The taboo energy was actually so terrifying. No wonder even Yi Chu Qianyue warned him. We can't let this kid live. Outside the supreme immortal city, an old Empyrean spoke. His aged eyes were now filled with cold killing intent. He was a giant of the heavenly palace, an origin realm existence. He had lived for a long time and knew how terrifying it was to have 12 stars of battle prowess in the great supreme god realm. As long as he was alive, he might become another lord of the ancient divine court in the future, or someone like Fei Huang, who would become a great enemy of the heavenly palace. They must find a way to get rid of such a person. That's right. Once this matter is over, we must find a way to get rid of him. We can't let him grow. Another Empyrean spoke. Who do you want to get rid of? You'll have to get through me first. A cold voice sounded. It was naturally Fei Huang. Fei Huang's long dress fluttered as she stood on a black lotus, looking like a demon among demons. Humph. The other Empyreans snorted, but they were still quite afraid of Fei Huang, so they didn't say anything. Standing on one of the lotuses, Gilbert's pupils suddenly shrank. 12 stars of battle prowess. This Lu Ming really has 12 stars of battle prowess. Gabbard whispered. He was very shocked, but soon, his shock turned into an even stronger killing intent. After all, he had fought with Lu Ming in an intense battle. At that time, he was defeated by Lu Ming with his higher cultivation. In the end, he escaped with broken wings. At that time, he guessed that Lu Ming's battle prowess was either 11 or 12 stars. Now that it was confirmed, although he was shocked, he quickly reacted. Lu Ming, so what if you have 12 stars of battle prowess? I'll still kill you. Gabbard shouted in a low voice, still confident. On the battle stage, Yellow Shikai was extremely shocked. He looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. Is this all your strength? It's not enough to kill me. Lu Ming mocked. It's enough to kill you. Yellow Shikai shouted and continued to attack Lu Ming. A goshawk, completely condensed by the power of heavenly punishment, with claws sharper than divine weapons, grabbed Lu Ming's head. Whoosh! Lu Ming waved his long spear. Spear light flashed as he fought with Yellow Shikai. Boom! Boom! This time, the two fought with speed. They kept exchanging blows and colliding. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. However, it was still a draw. Kill, kill, kill. Yellow Shirkai's eyes were red with killing intent. He pushed his battle prowess to the extreme and kept attacking Lu Ming. Lu Ming also pushed his battle prowess to the extreme to fight with his opponent. However, Lu Ming kept his cultivation at the 8th layer of the Great God Realm. The reason why he hid his cultivation was that he was afraid that if he showed a higher cultivation, the people of the Heavenly Palace would be afraid and admit defeat as soon as they saw him. How boring would that be? Although he couldn't really kill the people of the Heavenly Human Tribe here, he could still abuse them, right? At the same time, he could also attack the morale of the Heavenly Human Tribe and their arrogant attitude. And that Gabbard, he really wanted to see the expressions on those people's faces when he turned the tables on them. It would definitely be very interesting. Soon, the two exchanged more than 200 blows. At this time, Lu Ming began to gain the upper hand. Because after a few hundred blows, Yellow Shirkai's strength was running out. Constantly using the power of heavenly punishment consumed a lot of energy. And Lu Ming's strength was still at the peak. Yellow Shikai is going to lose. The forbidden power is long-lasting. He has a great advantage in a battle of the same level. Yellow Shikai, admit defeat. The people of the Heavenly Human Tribe discussed. Some even asked Yellow Shikai to admit defeat to avoid being humiliated. Want to admit defeat? It's too late. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. His figure flashed and disappeared from the spot, reappearing behind Yellow Shikai. Great Aurora Art, activate. Whoosh! Then, a spear light burst out, piercing towards Yellow Shirkai's dantian. Too fast. Yellow Shikai was already exhausted. It was too late for him to dodge. His dantian was directly pierced by the spear light. Ah! Yellow Shikai screamed, suffering endless pain. Yellow Shikai was about to shout and admit defeat. But Lu Ming slapped Yellow Shirkai's face. With a bang, Yellow Shirkai's face was smashed. The powerful force directly destroyed Yellow Shirkai's tongue and throat, making him unable to make a sound. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.